Tonight, a woman's husband is shot and killed, and she fears she could be next.
But everything isn't what it seems when a decades-old family secret comes to light. An all-new 2020 begins right now.
My husband is dead. I'm missing my right arm. I feel like I'm just missing my life. I don't know what to do.
Miriam gets home. It looked like the house had been ransacked.
She sees Alan laying on the kitchen floor.
He was shot right in the back of the head.
62-year-old Alan Helmick dead.
Here in this parking lot, less than 2 months before Alan was murdered, there was an earlier attempt on his life.
Somebody tried to torch our car. So the car actually got torched.
We found a vehicle that had a wick in its gas tank and had been set on fire.
Never seen anything like that before.
We didn't know if this person could come back.
Miriam became convinced she was being watched.
She thought somebody was trying to come into the house, and she was scared for her life.
2 weeks after Alan's murder, Miriam finds a dramatic discovery under her doormat.
And she goes, "What should I do? What should I do?" And I said, "You call the police and you get away from there."
There's a card inside that says, "Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run."
Out here in the western Colorado countryside, the wide open spaces can stretch for miles. In a place this remote, it might seem unlikely that two lonely souls might find each other and a second chance at love. But that's exactly what happened here, until one warm summer day when the peace of this place was shattered by unimaginable violence.
911, what do you have to cover your emergency?
My husband is dead.
You what?
My husband is dead.
This was a big story that shocked a small town.
There's blood everywhere. He has blood under his head.
There was a scare in the community, you know, that something like that could happen. We don't have a lot of crime here.
No, I've got to do this.
Murders just didn't really happen there, especially murders with so many twists, and especially to a well-respected businessman that everybody really loved.
Alan Helmick was a fixture in this community, a man who dedicated his life to helping others achieve their dreams, getting small businesses off the ground and families into their first homes. In fact, he was known as the broker of Main Street.
Alan Helmick was a prominent businessman. He had a mortgage business. Everybody respected him. He was firm, but he was very friendly.
An avid outdoorsman, Alan took advantage of all western Colorado had to offer.
The western slope is just gorgeous. It really is where the west meets a bit of suburbia. And in Whitewater, people had these sprawling homes, very affluent, very safe.
How would you describe this town of Grand Junction?
We pride ourselves on our outdoor activities, our beaches, our wine industry. Great for families.
Alan had grown up in the nearby town of Delta and settled into Grand Junction to raise a family. What was Alan Helmick like?
You know, he was a good guy. He was a great athlete.
Bob Cuccetti was Alan's friend and longtime accountant. Good instincts?
Yeah. Oh, he was a risk taker. He was a gambler. We went to Vegas once, and I think by the time we checked in the hotel, he was borrowing money. He recovered, you know.
He was a good business person. He took a lot of chances, but it seemed to more than not played out and worked well for him.
And definitely not one to shy away from attention.
One time we were in Mexico. A bunch of us were down there on a fishing trip, and the mariachi band came around the restaurant. Alan handed him a few dollars and asked for the trumpet from one of them, and he joined him on the trumpet. And he was really good. It was like, wow, where'd that come from?
So it didn't surprise those who knew Alan that after his first wife unexpectedly passed away, he wanted to meet new people. So he decided to try something different, dance classes. And his instructor is this woman, Miriam Giles.
Oh, yeah, he came in one time and we were doing something and he says, yeah, I just love dancing.
Miriam was a very good dancer, a good instructor. She had me dancing, which was a miracle.
Alan, I believe, kind of had that love at first sight feeling and really wanted to pursue Miriam and did so on the dance floor.
Miriam was 10 years his junior, but Alan didn't let that discourage him. He described meeting Miriam in an interview he did shortly before he died.
She didn't want to date me, but I persisted. She was my dance instructor, so I could go on a cruise and not be club-footed. We ended up becoming pretty compatible.
Alan seemed reborn. He was so very happy.
They ended up falling madly in love and got married within 2 years of knowing each other.
They would talk about how they would go out on their boats late at night to watch the sunsets together, have an evening cocktail, and just how they felt like they had just found a true partner late in life. It was just like a little fairy tale come true.
It's June 10th, 2008. Typical, beautiful Tuesday morning in Whitewater. And Miriam leaves to go run some errands. Alan was going to get his car serviced, and then they were going to meet up for lunch.
She stopped to get cigarettes, stuff for her horse, even check on a prescription for him.
She went to City Market to pick up his prescription and found out that he hadn't dropped it off. So she called him, could not get a hold of him.
When Miriam gets to the Chinese restaurant, she calls Alan again to see if they're going to meet, but Alan never shows.
Miriam, after 15 minutes, decides to leave and head home. Miriam gets home. It looked like the house had been ransacked.
At that point, she sees Alan laying on the kitchen floor on his back with blood under his head. She calls 911 immediately. She's sobbing. She's frantic.
It's so bloody.
He's all bloody?
Yeah.
Where's he bleeding from?
It looks like the back of his head. It looks like somebody's been through here.
We knew patrol had been dispatched out to what was reported as a robbery, and then we had a deceased person on scene.
Robin Martin is a detective who worked the case. When the first officers arrived on the scene, they find Miriam distraught and kneeling over her husband.
Alan was on the floor in the kitchen. It looked like he had been shot in the head, and we had a bullet casing next to his body. They did a very quick security sweep to make sure there wasn't a suspect still on scene.
There's no one in the house. As they conduct their sweep, deputies notice drawers pulled out in the kitchen and a trash can tipped over in Alan's office.
In the newsroom, we have police scanners, and we heard the call go out saying there was a robbery homicide out in Whitewater. I packed up my camera gear and went out there immediately. What I saw when I got out there was a scene that was taped off. Multiple officers going in and out of the house, conducting their investigation.
A lot of media attention?
Yes.
This was a big deal in that town, I guess.
It was, very much so. And everybody wanted to know what was going on.
My wife and I were getting ready for bed. 10 o'clock news come on. The headline was, there has been a homicide in Whitewater.
The Mesa County Sheriff's Office is called out to this Whitewater home.
I kind of jokingly said to my wife, I says, oh no, I wonder if that's Alan. And lo and behold, it was Alan.
What they find is 62-year-old Alan Helmick dead, shot in the head.
It's Detective Work 101 that you start with the people closest to the victim. But in this case, Alan's wife, Miriam, was running those errands, expecting to meet Alan for lunch. She even had the voicemails to prove it.
Okay, Alan, this isn't funny anymore. I've been sitting here in front of a Chinese place for 15 minutes, so would you call me?
Things did not add up. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him. Who would do such a thing?
The Mesa County Sheriff's Office is called out to this Whitewater home on a report of a possible robbery. What they find is 62-year-old Alan Helmick dead, shot in the head.
After finding her husband Alan dead in a pool of blood on the floor of their Whitewater, Colorado home, Miriam Helmick is brought in for an interview with the Mesa County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you for coming down and helping us get to the bottom of this. We appreciate it. It's Miriam, right?
Investigators are trying to solve this murder. The first 24 to 48 hours are critical, and she is the first person you want to talk to.
Miriam was at our office. They, as we do with all What were you doing today? Can you go through your day for us?
I had some errands I needed to run today, so he was we would meet later, so he got in the shower and got dressed.
Okay, what time did you leave?
About 8.
And what did she tell investigators about her whereabouts that morning?
She started listing off everywhere she had been. She told us that she was calling Alan several times, was getting his voicemail.
Hi, Alan. I just want to let you know I'm going to Walmart. If you're going to meet me for lunch, let's meet at the Chinese buffet. Love ya. Bye.
Then what happened?
I still hadn't heard from him. And then I went from there to Orchard, Mesa City Market to pick up his prescription.
Okay. What time is it now?
I probably got there about around 10.
Hey, Alan. You need to turn your phone on. Question for you. When I picked up your prescription, they said that you hadn't been by yet. So are we still going to be able to meet for lunch? It's not like you to not call me, so give me a holler. Thanks. Bye.
And since he hadn't called me back, I thought he was caught up somewhere to me. So I left him a message and told him I was going home in case he decided to meet me there anyway.
Okay, Alan, this isn't funny anymore. I've been sitting here in front of the Chinese place for 15 minutes, and you're never late. So would you call me?
Miriam's entire morning is accounted for. She even offers up proof of where she's been.
I think I have all the receipts in my pocket.
She actually went from one end of the valley to the other end, and we were able to track her movements not only by her receipts but by her cell phone interacting with cell phone towers.
She was tested for gunshot residue?
Yes, she was tested for gunshot residue.
Her clothes were collected?
That's right.
They take those items to check them for any kind of gunshot residue or blood spatter that might indicate Miriam had something to do with this. And those results came back negative.
She's also caught on several surveillance cameras throughout the morning. Miriam seemingly has an airtight alibi. So naturally, investigators are anxious to ask her who she thinks may have wanted to harm Alan.
Did he have any enemies, any problems with any of his contracting work going on, any disputes? Would he share that with you if he did?
I think so. He shared a lot with me.
Miriam said Alan was generally well-liked, but detectives also knew he'd been a local mortgage broker. Could he have turned someone down? Maybe had a disgruntled former client or co-worker who was out for revenge.
He did not like lying or dishonesty. He would fire people for that, but that was respected.
And he had started his own business here decades earlier. Alan had married his high school sweetheart, Sharon, and had 4 children through 37 years together. But on New Year's Eve, 2003, she died of a sudden heart attack. How did that affect him?
Friends said that he was quite depressed and wasn't doing that well.
And soon afterward, he takes up dancing.
He was encouraged to try a new activity.
When Alan met Miriam, I know she had a policy of not dating her students, but Alan was pretty relentless.
Kieran Wilson was a local journalist in Grand Junction, Colorado, who covered this case. Just days after Alan's murder, she spoke to an emotional Miriam.
I met him teaching how to dance, and I didn't really like him while he grew on me. But he was such a gentleman, and he was so sweet, and just love him to death, you know.
Miriam had been dealt her own difficult hand in life, having faced not one but 2 unimaginable tragedies back in her home state of Florida. Chris Giles is Miriam's son. Grew up in Jacksonville, mom, dad, a sister. What was it like?
It was good. Typical kind of for family. You know, me and my sister were super close. Mom kind of led us to do our things, but it was also there to kind of shepherd everything and help us through.
In 2000, Miriam and her first husband, Jack, were devastated when their eldest child, 23-year-old daughter Amy, died suddenly after an accidental overdose.
How did the family cope with this, with her death?
We didn't really talk about it. After a while, things kind of started going downhill.
And Jack just
he kind of, he just could not live without his daughter. It just tore him apart.
And then 2 years after your sister dies, tragedy strikes again.
Yeah. My dad took his own life, and I woke up to the gunshot.
Miriam's husband, Jack, shot himself while he and Miriam were in bed.
Mom kind of runs out the door, and she's hysterical, just losing her mind, like a scream I've never heard before in my entire life.
Well, it was a dramatic change in your family. Yeah. The loss of father.
Yeah, you're trying to figure out how to deal with those things. You got to deal with the pain. You got to deal with the hurt.
She turned to dancing after all this.
Yeah, it was kind of her escape, where she kind of felt normal.
And then your mom decides to move to Colorado.
Yes.
And not long after is when Alan Helmick walked through the door of the dance studio where Miriam worked.
Everybody's really happy for Alan. He seemed real happy. Yeah, another chance at love.
Everybody said that her and Alan were kind of a good team for dancing. They were a real couple.
So Alan and Miriam decided to build a house together, and they chose the community of Whitewater. The house was set pretty far back from the road, and it was about a 40-acre property.
Your mom goes through all this, seemingly happy again, and all of a sudden, this happens.
911, what do you have to cover your emergency?
My husband is dead.
How did you learn that Alan had died?
She called me. And told me that he'd been shot. Still kind of another shock to the system.
Another loss.
Yeah, another loss.
So far, investigators don't seem to have much to go on. But about an hour into that police interview, Miriam says something that would raise the eyebrows of any homicide detective.
In Delta. And somebody tried to torch our car.
So the car actually got torched in Delta?
Had Alan's killer made an earlier attempt on his life? After Alan Helmick is found murdered in his Whitewater, Colorado home, his wife Miriam is interviewed by investigators. And she tells them about a shocking incident that happened just 6 weeks earlier.
Somebody tried to torch our car. They took a stick or a big like restaurant skewer and put some kind of gauze on it and stuck it down in the gas tank and lit it.
Here in this parking lot, less than 2 months before he was murdered, there was an earlier attempt on Alan's life. Someone tried to set his car on fire. It looked like something straight out of a movie, but for the Helmicks, this brush with death was all too real.
Tell me about that incident. What happened that day with the car?
Well, Alan and Miriam had driven to Delta for the closing on their business. They were selling Alan's title company to a purchaser, and they had finished the transaction and had parked out front.
Collected a check?
And collected a check for over $100,000 for the sale of this business, and got in the car.
At that point, Miriam went in to use the restroom.
And while she's in the business, the car starts smoking.
Alan looked in the mirror and saw that the vehicle was on fire. He got out of the vehicle, went to the back of the car, and a wick was in the gas tank.
When Miriam comes out, she hears that Alan's screaming at her to bring her to get a fire extinguisher, that the car is on fire.
Upon arrival, we found a vehicle that had a wick in its gas tank and had been set on fire.
You ever seen anything like that before?
No, I had not seen anything like that.
It was pretty obvious someone had tried to start that fire.
Correct.
So if someone was trying to set the car on fire, it didn't quite work.
Correct. The fumes did not ignite, fortunately.
Were they able to glean anything else from the crime scene?
No security cameras from the surrounding businesses, no video footage whatsoever of what had transpired.
The police both questioned Miriam and Alan after the car incident.
You have no idea who would do this to you or Alan?
No, not at all. I mean, It's just weird. I don't know. We've been hashing it over last night. We can't figure it out.
Alan didn't have a lot of enemies, and so who would want to kill Alan in that kind of way by blowing up his car? That was a real mystery.
Do you know anyone that would have a problem with you?
I do not. Over the years, the fact is I was in business in this area. There's going to be some unhappy people because I turn people down on loans from time to time. But I think I was well respected in the savings and loan industry. There are two people that have had a problem with me.
Okay, who are those two people?
Alan mentions two bankers with whom he had prior dealings, but quickly downplays their potential involvement in the arson.
I can't imagine them being vindictive because they're too much exposed.
Right.
They did stupid things, but they're not stupid people.
Investigators will ultimately determine that those bankers are not involved, but they're exploring every avenue, even asking Alan if he thinks it's possible Miriam could have been responsible for the car fire.
Oh, God. No, I don't think that.
Not at all.
That would be terrible. No, why would you do that?
So during the interviews with officers, Alan and Miriam had mentioned that Miriam would not hurt Alan or harm him because Alan was worth more to her alive than if he were dead.
What would she gain if you died yesterday?
What he would get is a mess. She gets nothing that was created prior to the marriage.
Alan was convinced that it wasn't Miriam, and if the investigators in Delta had any suspicions of Miriam being involved in this, Alan was the first to defend her and say she wouldn't do this.
And besides, what reason would Miriam have for trying to kill Alan? He'd always gone out of his way to make her dreams come true with lavish gifts and gestures.
His goal in life was to make me happy, and he took care of me. His favorite saying was, have fun like hell. So anytime he knew I was going shopping or he gave me money or anything like that, he would say, have fun like hell.
Alan loved Miriam, and he was always happy to dote on her, buying her lavish gifts like her own dance studio and even a horse training business, always intent on making her lifelong dreams a reality.
I met Alan and Miriam Helmick at my farm because they wanted to buy some horses to start a horse breeding operation. It was always her passion to start riding, and Alan was just said, I'm going to give this dream to you.
Horse training centers, it's extremely difficult way to make a living. Most of those never pay off. It's a labor of love.
You told him it was not a good idea to invest in this horse.
No, and I said, it's a good hobby, but it's too expensive.
And his desire to open up that dance studio came from where?
Oh, it had to be Miriam.
You had your concerns about him investing in these things.
Oh, I told him, I said, get your head up your ass.
Sounds like you really wanted to make Miriam happy.
I think so.
Alan was always very good with his finances, but with the horse business and the dance business, they were hemorrhaging money.
As investigators began digging into Alan's finances, they found that bad business decisions had left him in a serious financial hole. But were his money troubles enough of a reason for someone to want him dead? Or could the murder have been more personal?
Does Alan Jr. know where you guys live now?
Yes, he's been there.
He's my wayward kid because he's sort of a bum.
Investigators will soon learn about some long-standing Helmick family tension.
He said if he shows up when he's not announced, you call the cops.
I'm just missing my life. I don't know what to do.
In the days after Alan Helmick's murder, investigators had diligently chased down leads and conducted interviews with people in his orbit, but they hadn't announced any suspects. There was, however, one thing they were pretty sure of. This was not a robbery gone wrong.
What stood out to you?
It was odd. You had property still in the house that was, you could assume, was of value that a normal burglar would take.
Like what?
Computers, phones, jewelry. The normal type of stuff you would expect somebody to steal.
There were drawers pulled out evenly. There was a trash can knocked over. There were drawers that were open that wouldn't hold valuables anyway.
And most of the drawers were open in the kitchen, right?
Correct. In the kitchen, throughout the house, it just did not sit right. It did not feel right. It was looking staged.
And Alan's autopsy confirmed that he probably had not walked in on anyone committing a burglary.
There was no indication that Alan had tried to fight off his attacker. It was very clear that he was caught by surprise as he was shot right in the back of the head.
Do you think Alan knew his attacker?
I don't know.
But there was someone in Alan's life that Miriam had told investigators he'd been wary of. At one point, Miriam starts pointing fingers at Alan's son, Alan Jr. What did she say about him?
Miriam talked about how Alan and Alan Jr. never got along, and that there was some falling out between the two of them and some animosity.
Tell me more about Alan Jr.
He's had run-ins with the law.
What was the relationship between Alan and Alan Jr. 3 or 4 months ago?
Same.
Same
It's been
distance?
that way for many years.
Okay, kind of
Very
stay
distant.
Okay.
There's some real animosity there.
Does Alan Jr. know where you guys live now?
Yes, he's been there.
And after that car fire 6 weeks earlier, Alan had also mentioned his strained relationship with his son to those investigators.
He's my wayward kid because he's sort of a bum. And you can't fix that by just handing him money.
Alan's personal issues with his son, coupled with the fact that he may have known his attacker, was enough for detectives to bring Alan Jr. in for an interview.
Come on in and have a seat. And I,
Right here?
yes, that's
All right.
fine.
He's the kind of guy that if he saw something that wasn't right, he would give you his 2 cents about it, and it would not be nice. It would be sharp.
He just told it as it is.
Yeah, it's sharp. Yeah, right out.
Sure.
That's like, you're out. You know, you're right. You're I like you because you're doing this.
Alan Jr. goes on to say that his father had effectively cut him off financially.
You know, Dad wouldn't give me a dime.
Okay. Did you ask?
No, I'm sure that I had back then. And then he repeated, you know, hey, this is something you need to learn to take care of yourself.
When asked, Alan Jr. insists he would never hurt his father, and he had an alibi. He was working out of state at the time of the murder.
Where were you Tuesday? Because everybody's been asked that question. And
You know, I'm not an ignorant human being.
Right.
And I would be offended if you didn't ask those questions. In fact, I would be angry with you if you didn't ask them in that way. Would have been working on the computers. I would have been at the hostel on my computer.
In Seattle.
Alan Jr. was cleared as a suspect.
That's right. No evidence linking Alan Jr. to having anything to do with Alan's murder.
So investigators are back to square one.
That's right.
There were no suspects. We didn't know if this person could come back.
I never thought it would happen here or anything like that would ever happen here. Chris is always quiet around here.
Are you scared that this person might come back?
I don't know. Yes and no. I don't want to leave because I'm closer to him here.
Had there been a murder in my home, would not want to stay there, especially not a few days after. But she said it was her home. She said she felt closer to him there.
But if Miriam says she felt safe enough to stay in her and Alan's home, that was about to change.
And then 2 weeks after Alan's murder, Miriam finds a dramatic discovery under her doormat at the house.
And she goes, what should I do? What should I do? And I said, you get off the phone and you call the police and you get away from there.
Was the killer now coming after Miriam?
Miriam Helmick came home last Tuesday to find her husband Alan shot and killed. Her quiet Whitewater neighborhood was turned upside down.
The baffling murder of businessman Alan Helmick had left a community desperate for answers. Detectives were taking a close look at everyone in Alan's life, even close friends like Ed Benson, who was brought in for an interview.
I've known Alan, oh shoot, I don't know, a long time.
So you're good friends, I could well, is it safe to say you're good friends, or?
We're friends, I mean,
Okay.
we're not, we're good friends.
So,
Strange interviews with the sheriff's department, the investigator. You know, you go in and we're friends, but yet we were treated as like suspects.
did you guys ever have any bad blooded between you two or anything like that?
Not from my standpoint, not at all,
Okay.
no.
Any enemies that you know of without Alan telling you, or any, said rumors that, Alan's not a good guy or anything like that?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
And there was that mysterious car fire just weeks earlier. Everyone wondering, could the two incidents be linked?
Think at all that they may be connected?
A good possibility. I'm just letting them figure that out. It was, it was a shock to us. But he never mentioned anything about anybody that would do something like that.
As days passed with no suspects in custody, Miriam became convinced she was being watched. She reported seeing a white pickup truck with a driver she didn't recognize circling the property, leaving her to wonder whether the same people who killed Alan were now coming after her.
I talked to Miriam almost on a daily basis, and in a lot of our conversations, she talked about that she thought somebody was trying to come into the house and she was scared for her life.
Miriam starts reporting that weird things have been happening around the house. She's saying that she will come home and a door that she knows she locked is unlocked.
She was finding lights on. She was finding medicine cabinet doors open that shouldn't be.
She saw one or more suspicious vehicles that she didn't know who was linked to them. And mind you, this is a very small area, only a handful of homes out there. And you recognize most of the vehicles that are driving in and out of the area.
But the strange happenings at the home weren't the only thing worrying Miriam. With Alan, the sole breadwinner, gone, there wasn't any money coming in. During her police interview, Miriam had explained to investigators that they had a prenup.
She really didn't have anything without him. She didn't stand to gain a lot.
I did not have any legal claim to anything that he owned.
Okay.
It was pretty cut and dry.
Miriam's financial situation was fairly dire. In fact, she started selling off some of the property they had together.
She said she had no money, all the money was in Alan's name. So I said, well, let me buy the horses back, I'll pay your debt off to the other trainer. That way it'll give you some money for what you need to live on.
And then, as Miriam is struggling to stay financially afloat, an ominous message shows up on her doorstep.
She was with her friend Penny. They had just gotten back from shopping. She goes up to her front door and she sees an envelope sticking out from under the mat. And when she opens that envelope, there's a card inside that says, "Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run."
She collapses to the ground, becomes very distraught.
Marion calls me and she's frantic. And she goes, what should I do? And I said, well, you need to hang up the phone and call the police and get out of there. I said, because somebody could be there trying to hurt you.
The greeting card is turned over by Miriam to her lawyer, who then notifies the police.
I was given a copy of the card. It said, "To the grieving widow," in block letters. On the front is a picture of a middle-aged female. And it said, "Insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result." And then inside, Alan spelled A-L-L-E-N.
Misspelled.
Your was also Y-O-U-R. A grammatical thing, okay.
Whoever left it there had cut out the barcode, seemingly in an effort to obfuscate anybody tracing that card, where it was purchased, who purchased it, that sort of thing.
It looks like Miriam might be the next target.
Maybe there is somebody out there who really wants to kill Miriam as well.
After Miriam received the threatening card, she left and she went back to Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, where she's from. She moved in with her son, Chris.
How was she coping?
Oh, it was not good. You know, there was some brokenness there. I just knew that she was in a bad place. I was trying to help her through that stuff.
What did you make of that?
I think that's not that abnormal. She didn't have a lot to her name, so she needed to figure out how to live without Alan.
Back in Colorado, that bizarre greeting card gives police something they have been desperately searching for: a solid lead.
I had actually seen this card before.
Just coincidentally, you had seen the card?
It's kind of a unique front on a card.
It's at this city market that investigators finally get the break they've been waiting for. The person who bought that card with the threatening message from Miriam is caught on surveillance tape here. And just who that person is will take everyone by surprise.
You see it clear as day.
Then a bombshell discovery from decades earlier.
The piece of evidence that was really the smoking gun, almost literally, was recovered from that lawn in Delta.
What investigators find buried here will crack this case wide open.
What we had was a man who had led a good life and he ended up murdered.
I saw Alan on the floor. He was cold and gray.
People were in disbelief. People were scared.
I held his hand for a few minutes and tried to make some sense of it all.
Miriam comes home. There's a handwritten note, and it says, "To the grieving widow."
Alan's first, you're next. Run, run, run.
It looks like Miriam might be the next target.
The killer was now after her.
You want twists and turns? There's no shortage of that here.
I met Miriam on a dating site. She wrote, saw your profile and loved it.
She was moving on.
Even my girls were like, she's dating already?
She's trying to get on with her life in a new state. But another incident with a gun comes to the surface.
I heard the shot. Mom kind of runs out the door and she's hysterical, just screaming. Like a scream I've never heard before in my entire life.
Could what they find buried in this yard be the smoking gun?
On June 10th, 2008, 62-year-old respected businessman Alan Helmick was found dead in his home by his wife Miriam.
When we arrived, Alan was on the floor in the kitchen. He had been shot in the head and we had a bullet casing next to his body.
The place had been ransacked, but nothing seemed to have been taken.
They realized fairly quickly that this was a staged attempt to hide what really happened.
A tragic ending to what appeared to be a perfect second chance at love.
Both Alan and Miriam were widows. She was his dance instructor for ballroom dancing lessons.
I'm missing my right arm. I feel like I'm just missing my life. I don't know what to do.
Miriam told police she'd been running errands all morning and provided receipts to back up her alibi.
I went to Walmart.
Okay.
I needed to buy some shirts.
Police were at a loss as to who would want this well-liked businessman dead.
Alan had some enemies, but nobody was going to kill him.
And as investigators began to dig deeper, the story took a frightening turn.
Miriam comes home. There's a handwritten note, and it says, "To the grieving widow." Alan was first, you're next. Run, run, run.
It looks like Miriam might be the next target.
The real killer was now after her.
After Miriam received the threatening card, she went back to Florida, where she's from.
When Miriam came back to Florida, I was so surprised. I just couldn't believe it. She gave me a call, and I got a lot to tell you, she says.
In Florida, Miriam turned to old friends for support, reconnecting with her former neighbor, Aline Lee.
Miriam didn't have any money. She said, all I've got is just the clothes on my back. I have nothing. I said, I can get you clothes. My girls are your size. I bought a gas card for her, and I gave her a bag of jewelry. I just felt bad for her.
While Miriam tries to restart her life in Florida, Detectives in Colorado are continuing to work the case, trying to figure out where that threatening card she received came from.
They got in touch with the manufacturer of the card. He was able to tell them where these cards were sold.
I checked the Hallmark, I checked the Hobby Lobby. We finally get to the city markets. I contacted their loss prevention guy. They found 2 sales. One person paid in cash, didn't know who that person was. The other one was with a credit card. So we had a name, and then he found one more purchase. He called me and he's like, I've got video.
That store uses VHS tapes?
That particular store was not as up to date as their others, and they did use VHS, and they used it over and over and over again. So by the time we got this tape, it was kind of delicate. It was her. She was wearing the same style of shirt that she had walked in with her interview. It was just a different color combination.
You see Miriam going first to the area where the cards are sold within the city market, and then to the cash register where she pays for it. Clear as day.
So now it appears that Miriam, the grieving widow, seemingly afraid for her own life, had actually sent that threatening card to herself. But when investigators confront her about this, she says she has an explanation.
What Miriam told them is that she felt like the police weren't paying enough attention to the case. They weren't doing much. And so she wanted to kind of jog that with this card.
That was probably not the best decision to be made. Not what I kind of would have done in the situation.
She felt she needed to do this.
She felt she needed to.
Did that greeting card incident change the way you and investigators approach the case?
What innocent person would do this? Obfuscate, complicate a murder investigation with this ruse?
But remember, when she was interviewed by investigators, Miriam said she had very little to gain from Alan's death.
We did a prenup. So everything his is his. Everything mine is mine. He has more than I do.
Okay.
With no clear motive in sight, the Mesa County Sheriff's Office turned their attention to Miriam's past, learning about that double tragedy she and her family suffered years earlier in Florida.
There was the sudden loss of her daughter, and then a shocking development with her first husband.
While Miriam and her first husband, Jack, were in bed, Jack shot himself in the head. Now you say, okay, she's had not one, but 2 husbands shot in the head.
Was there a common thread?
And they were both married to Miriam Helmick.
Police ruled it a suicide. There were some strange circumstances, though. Things like he used his right hand to pull the trigger. Jack was a lefty.
Investigators then start looking back at your father's death.
Yes. I woke up to the gunshot.
You were just down the hall.
I was sleeping on the couch in the family room, and I heard the shot. Mom kind of runs out the door, and she's hysterical, just screaming, like a scream I've never heard before in my entire life. There's certain things in life that can't be faked.
Did you question her?
No. I know one of the things came up is that my dad was left-handed. Well, my dad learned how to write left-handed because he had a cast on his arm when he was younger, so he was ambidextrous. He could use his right hand too.
And you had seen him depressed?
Yeah.
Before death?
Yeah.
Was the death of her first husband, that case, ever reopened?
No, it was ruled a suicide.
But with clouds of suspicion gathering over Miriam about the death of her second husband, she does something unexpected.
I met Miriam on a dating site.
A millionaire match?
A millionaire match.
Your profile described me to a T.
Investigators are starting to wonder if they could actually have a black widow on their hand.
I mean, she was finding the husbands, she was looking for the money, and then moving on.
With suspicion now mounting that she may be the person who killed her husband, Alan, Miriam Helmick does something unexpected. She goes looking for love again.
Miriam took me to this website for dating, men that had a lot of money. I mean, we're talking about very rich. And she picked out this one guy from Orlando. Had a lot in common with her. He liked to dance, and he loved horses, all this stuff.
I met Miriam on a dating site. I owned a dance studio for about 6 or 7 years, and then I had a human resources company for about 20 years. I did very well for myself. Miriam had contacted me first. She wrote, "Saw your profile and loved it. I can dance, any dance, and I'm pretty good at it. Your profile requirement described me complete to a T."
She says, "I'm gonna go down there." I said, "You're what?" I mean, this is just months after Alan had died. Even my girls were like, "Ah, she's dating already?" And I said, "Yeah."
We met at TGI Fridays. She was very talkative, very nice. We hit it off really good, actually.
Miriam even opens up about the recent loss of her husband.
Miriam had told me that her husband had died of some brain disease. She said that we both felt he was going to die soon anyway, and there was no big deal. We were just waiting for the time. She handled his death very well. I just thought to myself, okay, well, big deal.
Miriam may have been trying to move on and put Alan's death behind her, but back in Colorado, investigators are taking a closer look at her, starting with her alibi from the day of Alan's murder.
Went to Orchard Mesa Market. I went to Walmart. I think I have all the receipts in my pocket.
She was able to pull out the receipts from her pocket of everywhere she had been that morning. Just didn't seem natural to us.
To show up at the police interview with a pocket full of receipts, suspicious or just thorough?
I would say very odd. That is not a normal thing.
Is that really your first thought, to explain where you had gone in great detail and keeping the receipts?
What did investigators make of her alibi?
Well, they thought it was suspicious, didn't make a lot of sense to them.
And investigators weren't the only ones with suspicions about Miriam.
M-I-R-I-A-M, Helmick, H-E-L-M-I-C-K.
Remember that local reporter who sat down with her after Alan's murder? She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off with her story.
Have you planned the funeral yet? Oh, it's tomorrow at 10.
I start to get a weird feeling as she's talking.
I wanted to get back into dressage and decided I should have a dressage horse, so he bought several.
It was all about her. And these interviews are really supposed to be about the deceased.
His goal in life was to make me happy. He never wanted me to worry about anything or have any problems or anything, and he took care of me, everything.
As I was speaking with her, it went from feeling really bad for her to being suspicious.
Are you scared that this person might come back?
That was it.
Yes,
that's
no.
the look.
I don't want to leave because I'm closer to him here.
She started looking to the side. It's just like when you're talking to somebody and you know that they're lying because of nonverbal cues that they have. When I left that house, I've never scurried away from a place so quickly in my life. I was genuinely scared.
And while Miriam is talking to the media, investigators are talking to those closest to Alan. You continue with the investigation. Actually, you interview Alan's children.
Yes. Right after Alan passed, we were speaking to the daughters, and they had expressed concerns of an inability to get a hold of their dad.
He's been completely out of character, drastically since January. It's odd for my dad. It's
You've
not
seen him
character.
change. You've seen him change his character.
And maybe not so much see him change his character, but through her, I can't even get to him.
He wasn't answering phone calls. He wasn't returning voicemails.
Hi, Dad. It's Portia. I hate to bother you so much. It's just, I haven't been able to talk to you, so things are piling up.
Hey, Miriam, this is Christy. I've been calling my dad for about a week, and I'm not hearing back.
And every time I called, Miriam answered. Before then.
His phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
His cell phone. Which I thought was weird. He always answered his phone.
It appeared that he was being distanced from them.
I'm like, well, Dad, is your home phone hooked up? He's like, no. I'm like, well, how does anybody get a hold of you? Well, Miriam doesn't want anybody to bother me.
And when they would call Miriam, there was excuses as to, oh, I'll have him call you back, or he's not around.
She certainly, in the days leading up to his murder, was isolating him from his children.
Alan's kids couldn't help but wonder why Miriam seemed to be keeping them from their father in the months leading up to his murder. Could it have been something to do with a sudden decline in his health?
Father's never sick. My father's like an ox. And he was, every time I would talk to him, he was sick.
And did he say what he was sick from?
He didn't know. I don't think he had a clue.
But he said he couldn't even stand up. He was so dizzy.
The more investigators dig, the more troubling details they uncover, like a gun that seemed to have disappeared from Miriam and Alan's home.
One of Alan's children said she specifically remembered seeing a .25 caliber pistol in his sock drawer.
They couldn't find that gun after the murder.
Police learn of a shooting incident that had happened outside this house decades before.
Could what they find buried in this yard be the break they need? Detectives will often say that when it comes to investigating, there are no coincidences. And for those working the murder of Alan Helmick, they were certain that attempted car fire just weeks earlier was somehow connected to their case.
This area is where I was dispatched to a car fire. We saw that somebody had placed a wick in the gas tank of a vehicle. We contacted the driver. We were speaking with him. We were speaking with his wife. As I started questioning both of them, I noticed she became a bit nervous, and she said that she wasn't feeling well, needed to run to the restroom. I watched her leave the back of the vehicle, not go into the restroom she just came out of.
Not right here.
Not right here where she just went to the restroom. She actually went across 4 lanes of traffic, which...
That's strange.
Very strange.
Did she ever come back?
Not while I was on scene.
She stayed over there?
She stayed over there.
When you were still here, you went into the ladies' room.
We did.
What did you find there?
We smelled the odor of gasoline. It was fairly strong.
Since investigators learned that Miriam had been standing at the trunk right before Alan discovered the fire, they decided to bluff him, telling Alan there was surveillance video of the incident to see if he thought his wife could have been responsible.
I watched the video.
Is she on there?
I'm asking you. What do you think?
No, is she on there?
I'm
Did she
asking
like
you
it?
what you think.
No, but I could be wrong.
We bluffed Alan, and he said he didn't believe it.
And you didn't answer my question. You looked at the video.
Yeah.
Nice little flick there. If you'd seen her on the video doing it, I would have been shocked.
The crime scene reminded investigators of a movie scene.
After all the dust had settled, our investigators started thinking about what had transpired in Delta. They thought, this sounds like the car explosion scene in No Country for Old Men, which had just come out in the last year and was a popular movie where the villain had created a distraction by lighting a magazine, sticking it into the gas inlet, and exploding the car.
As police are looking into this, they discovered that the Helmicks had rented that movie about 4 days prior to the incident.
Was this the smoking gun or smoking car?
It definitely was part of the investigation. Miriam was not charged with the arson in Delta because of the roadblock put up when Alan demanded the investigation be closed. He did not want to pursue it if we were looking at Miriam, and that he would not cooperate with the investigation.
And the detectives now investigating Alan's murder are still searching for any hard evidence that Miriam pulled the trigger. After all, they still hadn't recovered a murder weapon.
There was the issue of the firearm that was missing from the home. And in talking to the daughters, we knew that there should have been a .25 caliber Lorsen in the house.
Because people had seen that gun there before.
Correct.
As luck would have it, there was an old Helmick family story from decades earlier of Alan's first wife's stepfather firing that same gun into the ground during a domestic dispute back in 1989. Could this gun, now missing, be the murder weapon?
There was some evidence that it had been in the house in the years leading up to the murder, and no evidence of what he would have done with that weapon. No evidence he sold it, gave it away, traded it. You know, where is this gun?
And then investigators bring in a metal detector into the case.
Right.
Detectives come up with a long-shot idea. Go back to the property where that domestic dispute happened back in 1989. Could they recover the bullet fired from that gun and compare it to the bullet that killed Alan?
I received a phone call from the chief investigator at the Sheriff's Department of Mesa County asking me if I would assist them in searching for a bullet.
Carol Quarles is a retired law enforcement officer who has experience using a metal detector to search for missing evidence.
So your reaction when they asked you to get involved in this case?
Oh, yeah, heck yeah. Anytime. Just call me. I love finding evidence.
And you started over here?
And I started working my way around. And then I just slowly worked my way around to about midway in the yard. And I hadn't found anything.
And they were getting nervous. The investigator said, well, maybe you're not going to find it.
Yeah, maybe the witness wasn't remembering things right.
Right. To which you said,
let me check over there in case the shooter shot into that corner of the yard. And so I walked over there, and it wasn't 30 to 45 seconds, and I had the bullet.
Where did you find that bullet?
That bullet was right in this area right here. It was an aha moment. I mean, it was euphoric. That's the best way that I can explain it.
And they dug up that bullet that had been there since 1989. They were able to compare that bullet from the ground to the bullet that was recovered from Alan's headshot. And what we were able to determine was that the two bullets were consistent with each other.
The evidence is building up against her.
It is.
At this point, police believe that they have enough to arrest Miriam for Alan's murder.
But this is a woman who police believe orchestrated an attempted firebombing and shot her husband in the head in cold blood. Is she just going to go quietly?
She's being investigated for a homicide. You don't ever know that she doesn't have a gun. If she sees you and she's scared, knows what's going on, it's a real game out there at that point.
In the fall of 2008, just a few months after Alan Helmick's murder, Miriam was living in Jacksonville, Florida, attempting to move on with her life. But her past in Colorado was about to catch up with her.
I was a special agent with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement here in the Jacksonville field office. I got a call from Mesa County Sheriff's detectives, and they were investigating a homicide in Colorado.
Did you have an inkling that she might be a suspect?
It wasn't kind of until I was driving home one day and the Grand Junction police called me and said, is she living? I was like, yeah, she's with me. I don't know what's going on, but she's there.
And we sent 2 investigators down there with an arrest warrant.
They handcuffed her and set her right on the ground. She had a blank expression on her face, like a little bit angry looking almost.
6 months after Alan's death, Miriam is charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder for that car fire, and forgery. She pleads not guilty and is extradited from Florida back to Colorado.
What we had was a man who had led a good life and he ended up murdered, and there's a need to bring to justice the right person.
A year after being arrested and charged, Miriam Helmick goes on trial here at the Mesa County Courthouse. Prosecutors argue that the grieving widow is actually a cold-blooded killer.
Miriam Helmick standing trial for the murder of her husband was a huge deal. The courtroom was pretty packed. It was a bit chilling. Miriam did not show a lot of emotion. She didn't look like herself.
So why do prosecutors believe Miriam killed Alan? They argue the motive was as age-old as they come: money. Financial motive was the critical part of your argument.
There were suspicious bank account activity where it appeared that Miriam had forged multiple checks from Alan's account. All told, she had taken about $40,000 out of his account through writing those checks.
But the defense pushed back, saying that Miriam had Alan's permission to write those checks, both as his wife and his secretary.
Banks had been calling, trying to get a hold of Alan.
He wasn't being available to his banker, something that had never happened before.
Now there was an urgency.
Right. In fact, the banker had reached out to one of Alan's daughters, and that was tension that was building.
Prosecutors put Alan's daughter, Portia, on the stand to testify about the way Miriam seemed to be isolating her father in the months leading up to his murder.
He was much less involved in my life. He was much more distant. I called him, and when I didn't get to his phone, I called Miriam's phone.
And when they would call Miriam, there was excuses as to, oh, I'll have him call you back, or he's not around.
If Alan was discovering that she had been taking money from him without permission, that was a possible motive.
How would he have reacted if he had found it?
Everything would have been over. You had had our attorney on a hotline, and it would have been over.
And prosecutors argued that Miriam had tried to kill Alan not once, but twice. The first time in that failed attempt at blowing up his car. They called Miriam's horse breeder and friend, Jerry Yarborough, to the stand.
When I went on the stand, I was super scared because I knew my testimony was going to be not so good for Miriam.
Jerry told jurors about a conversation she said she had with Miriam after that failed car bombing.
She had said that she found out that a car won't explode if it has a full tank of gas.
And when she said that, what was her demeanor?
She laughed.
That catch you off guard?
Pretty much.
But the defense pointed out that if Miriam was after Alan's money, why would she try to blow up his car while he was holding that large cashier's check he had just received?
The piece of evidence that was really the smoking gun, almost literally, was the bullet that was able to be recovered from that lawn in Delta.
How pivotal was that in tying Miriam to the crime?
That was a nice piece of evidence because we didn't actually find the gun, but we had a story about the gun, how it was seen in the home. Now we have a bullet that roughly matches the bullet that was recovered from Alan.
But as Miriam's defense pointed out, roughly matched is not the same as a perfect match.
Couldn't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Then the defense did something you don't often see at a murder trial.
Defense calls Miriam Helmick to the stand.
They called Miriam to testify in her own defense.
Once you got inside, what did you see?
I saw Alan on the floor. I dropped my bags and went to him. He was cold and gray. I held his hand for a few minutes and tried to make some sense of it all.
Miriam stayed on that stand for 2 days, denying that she had anything to do with Alan's murder. When prosecutors got their chance to cross-examine her, they pressed her on the infamous run, run, run card that she admitted sending to herself.
You were just acting at that time, weren't you?
Yes, just briefly.
You concocted a complete ruse to lead them on a wild goose chase away from you and towards some phantom killer out there, correct?
If they'd actually had contacted me or listened, then maybe I wouldn't have been at that point.
That was probably not the best decision to be made, but I think at that point she was probably broken, just emotionally and mentally broken.
That video really did undermine Miriam's credibility.
Showing her purchasing that card was very difficult for the defense to rebut.
After 16 days of testimony, the jury gets the case.
They come back with a verdict in 5 hours for a first-degree murder case. You just don't see that.
5 hours was very fast.
The verdict, guilty on all counts.
There was a little bit of a sigh of relief.
You thought, good, she's going to get what she has coming.
She was sentenced to life without parole. I think that spoke volumes to all of the evidence, circumstantial or not, that was stacked up against her.
But Miriam says the jury got it wrong, and she had a lot more to say when we spoke in her first interview since being convicted. Miriam, are you telling me that your husband Alan started the car fire himself? Why would he do that?
First time she's spoken publicly since her 2009 sentencing. I asked Miriam about first meeting Alan back when she was his dance instructor in Grand Junction.
And was it love at first sight?
Well, not really, no, because I was there trying to work, and but he just never gave up. Let's just put it that way.
He was very persistent.
Yes, very.
And eventually you fell in love with him.
Yes. It was kind of hard not to. I mean, he's a very, very kind, very sweet man, and he always had your best interest at heart, usually.
Alan's kids say that you were isolating him from them in the months prior to his death. Was that true?
No. But he would get really pale during the day, and I would make him rest. And so I would take his phone away where he wouldn't ring so that he could get some rest. Because it seemed like they always called when he was trying to get a nap.
Next message. Hey, this is Portia. I'm starting to get a complex here because you guys have never not picked up your phone.
Our pathologist, Dr. Kurtzman, indicated there was evidence of advanced heart disease. So if he was not feeling well, it was probably attributable to the heart disease.
Prosecutors say that you fraudulently had written about $40,000 in checks on Alan's money that he was about to find out, and that's why you killed him.
He could look up online anytime and see what was coming out of his bank account. Nobody stopped him from doing that. So anything that was written with his approval.
Did you steal any money from Alan?
No, I didn't take anything from him because everything that was put in the bank went into his bank account. None of it came to me.
Did you have anything to do with starting that car fire?
No, I didn't have any inclination to do it. But I almost believe that he started his own car fire.
You mean to tell me that Alan started the car fire himself? Why would he try to do that and possibly hurt himself?
Well, I don't think he thought about hurting himself. And it took me a while to wrap my head around that he would possibly do anything like that.
Miriam says Alan may have tried to set the car fire for the insurance money.
I started to wonder if he just, because as soon as he got his car home, he applied for the insurance on it.
It's a claim that's hard to back up, but Alan was adamant with authorities that he did not believe Miriam would ever try to kill him.
I had called Alan to advise him that I felt his current wife, Miriam, was trying to kill him. And Alan got upset with me and told me that Miriam would never do that to him. And at that point, he asked me to terminate the case.
What about the gun that was missing from your home and Alan's home?
I didn't know it was missing until this whole thing, so I have no idea how or where it went.
It had an unusual family history, that gun.
I know when I first met him, 2 years before that, I saw it that he wasn't removing, and I asked him to put it away because I don't like handguns. I just don't. I already had to deal with that kind of thing. It was very unnerving to me. That was the last time I saw him.
Now, authorities also questioned your alibi, all the receipts that you had. It looked like you were trying so hard to create an alibi. Were you?
It's not uncommon for anybody to pocket their receipts. I had cash and receipts, so they went in my pocket. Done that all my life.
It makes sense to us that she shot him before she ran the errands. Then she runs all the errands, and she creates an alibi for herself on purpose, intending to throw people off.
Miriam, did you kill your husband, Alan?
I did not.
Do you think you'll get out of prison someday?
I do, eventually, because I know that I'm going to keep digging, and I know that we're going to be able to put this together.
What do you think will prove your innocence now?
The fact that I had no GSR on me, I had no blood spray on me.
Wouldn't the blood spatter and the gunshot residue be easily washed off if you took a shower?
Well, you know, that's funny because when I went to the police station that afternoon, you could tell I hadn't taken a shower. There was even some dirt under my fingernails, pretty much from doing the barn that morning and helping him shovel out stalls.
So you had not washed anything off?
No, I hadn't changed clothes, nothing.
Miriam has filed numerous appeals with the courts. They've all been rejected, but she vows to keep on fighting.
It won't be over for anybody till it's over for me, and I do have hope. I know that I've been killing. Now that I'm on this path, I'm not going to lay down and die with it. I'm sorry, it's just not in my nature to do that.
How often do you think about him?
I think about him all the time. He was funny. He would say things that I remember. His biggest saying was, "It's only business. Treat it that way." You know, he was fun to be around.
After the trial, did you see your mom again?
I did not. I have not seen her since the trial.
After so long, what did Miriam finally have to say to her son?
Don't forget, you're gonna put on your jacket too. We're not used to the 30-degree weather that's awaiting us.
No, we're from Florida.
Maybe different.
This past November, Chris Giles and his wife Kelly flew to Colorado for a much-anticipated visit to see his mom, Miriam, in prison.
So she's in the Dimmins Women's Correctional Facility. So it'll be the first time in probably about 15 years that I've seen her. I have not seen her since the trial.
Why not?
I think for one, I didn't want to have to just see her that way. See her kind of broken and see her in that situation. I was also kind of mad. I was mad that all this had kind of happened.
Over the years, one by one, Chris lost his entire family to different forms of tragedy.
It's just kind of a whirlwind, and then all of a sudden this happens.
That new husband dies, and then she's arrested.
Yeah. You're trying to figure out how to deal with those things, and you kind of got to deal with the pain, you got to deal with the hurt. Let's rock and roll. It's probably nervous like me, you know, a little bit nervous, a little excited.
Our cameras were not allowed inside the prison, but Chris tells me that reuniting with his mom, while complicated, was also healing for him.
First thing she did was apologize.
What did she say?
As soon as we sat down. She said, "I'm sorry for everything I put you through." She said, "I'm sorry that we had to go through this." But still, once we got to the Alan part, she was firm in that she was innocent of all that stuff. And so we just hashed out kind of what had happened.
Do you believe your mother had anything to do with Alan's murder?
I do not.
With your father?
I do not, no.
Seeing your mom was a big step for you after all these years.
Forgiveness is a big thing, you know? It's huge when you can work through that and go, I don't have to forget about it, but I can choose to forgive you for it.
But when it comes to Alan's family and friends, there are some things that they say they would rather forget.
I try not to think about the murder. I more like to think about the fun times that we had with Alan. That's those are good memories.
What do you think Alan would have wanted people to remember about him?
He was a lot of fun. He's the kind of guy you could, meet and have a drink with and have a good laugh.
He treated everybody with fairness and respect and gave a lot of love to those around him. Nobody wanted to hurt him except for his own wife. She ended up taking this man's life.
I mean, a good man was killed. I don't know whether justice is served or not. She's in jail, and apparently she's never going to get out, but he's still dead. You can't bring him back.
I think his legacy is that he was tried and true in the community. He did what he said he was going to do. Alan was truly loved by everyone that knew him.
Miriam Helmick was sentenced to life plus 78 years.
David, she has exhausted her appeals, but she says she still plans to fight for her freedom. That's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.
The new evidence that came out, nobody can ignore it.
There is a lot on the line today.
He wants justice for his daughter. I want justice for my son.
Police don't know even if the crime happened here.
We would not be here working on his case if we didn't truly believe that the state got it wrong.
The courtroom was packed, definitely tense.
Just hours ago, breaking new developments in the Jessica Curran case.
Today was a huge step.
They're also fighting for us as well.
I beg you. I'm so sorry.
Stories about what happened to Jessica don't quite match up.
I believe that the people that were involved, we brought them to justice. We stand by the investigations that we did.
I just don't know why it's taken so long. It's just been a long 25 years.
This case is not going to be forgotten about.
I've got enough right now to take all of you down, but I come to you for the truth.
Hopefully someone will come forward and tell what they know, and the truth will come out.
Jean Curran hung her head in disbelief.
Why did they get you?
You tell me. Didn't know her, never met her, never seen her.
Because I did not know her or anything, man.
I kept telling them, I don't know anything. Leave me alone.
I didn't do it. Well, you can't know.
She kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
And that's the last time?
That's the last time I saw Jessica.
These roads are so dark. Anyone in a car could have pulled up and scooped her.
Why should we believe you now after all the lies you told?
A large tornado looks like it is going to have almost a direct hit here on Mayfield.
This is a confirmed tornado on the ground.
The small Kentucky town of Mayfield, population of about 10,000, reduced to rubble.
Just sounded like a freight train. It is scary.
You can see this trailer just completely flipped over.
Their downtown devastated. The courthouse, the clock tower ripped off.
Much like that tornado which left so many victims, this story has had a long-lasting impact on Mayfield, Kentucky. It involves an unspeakable crime, a father who was a firefighter, and nearly a dozen suspects. The investigation ripped through this tight-knit community, fueling rumors and leaving so many unanswered questions about what exactly happened to 18-year-old Jessica Curran.
This is our fire truck here. This is a picture of the crew. This is all the captains.
You were a captain at this fire station?
Yes.
For how long?
Captain. Well, I made captain 3 years before I retired.
Did you always want to be a firefighter?
No, I really never dreamed of being a firefighter.
No.
No, I didn't.
How did it turn out this way?
Well, I was just needing a job at a time where it was hard to find one. And I ended up being a firefighter, which is something I really love because I like helping people. I used to walk from school just down the street here, and I used to cut across here, where the fire department is.
Little did you know.
Little did I know someday I would be in there. My name is Joe Curran, and Jessica Curran was my daughter. I have 4 kids. Jessica is the second one.
Joe, how would you describe your daughter, Jessica?
She was outgoing, and she was very thoughtful, friendly, passionate. She was really a person that you would want for a friend.
My name is Venetia Stubblefield. Jessica was my cousin. She was a sweet girl. She really was. She is an awesome friend. She was somebody you could sit down, laugh, talk to about any and everything, because she kept to herself. She was a beautiful girl.
Jessica Curran.
Yes.
How did you get to know her?
She was friends with a few of my cousins. Her family owned like a fishing pond. We used to go fishing there. And she was a very nice person. She was very, very helpful. She was very friendly.
She had a baby.
That's Zion.
This is Zion.
Yes, that's Zion. Jessica was 18 when she had the baby. She was a good mother. She'd check on him, she'd keep him, she'd hold him, she'd play with him, and she didn't really like to leave him much.
Being that was her first child, she adored that baby. She really did.
After she got pregnant, she decided she wanted to move out all at once. And me and her brother helped her move in to the Plaza Apartments. And all I wanted was her to go back to school, and she had did that. She was finishing up her GED.
I was a GED instructor, and Jessica was one of my students. She was a fun-loving child.
And then on July 29th, 2000, she vanishes.
Yes. I got off work that night. My wife had already talked, and she had told me to go by and pick up Zion. And when I went by Jessica's apartment, she was talking with her friends, and they told me that they most likely would go over to Venetia and her friend's house and play some cards. She got me the baby, and I put him in the car and brought him on home.
We were just sitting there playing spades and listening to music, and that's it, and having a couple of drinks, because it was just like a basically ladies' night.
So take me back to July 29th. Was Jessica in a good mood that night?
Yes,
Happy?
she was. Yeah, she was actually happy. She was happy that she got to get out for a little bit and enjoy the weather, enjoy sunlight, and get some air and take a break, because she had been at home with her kid. Always had her little earrings in her ears, little rings on her finger, necklaces and bracelets.
What time did she decide to head out to leave the get-together?
Probably about 1:30ish, almost 2. I tried to get her a ride home, even offered to help walk her home. And she's like, no, I'm fine, I got it. Trust me. She was like, trust me, because I got it.
It would be 3 or 4 miles. It was on the opposite side of town. That's where the Plaza Apartments were. At least 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, I would say.
We stood right here and watched her walk until we didn't see her walking no more. And she kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
Jessica decides to head out on foot. According to Venetia, Jessica says goodbye to her friends right around here and then heads off into the darkness.
It's really crazy to me that she decided to make this walk. It's a really scary walk.
And that's when we became very nervous.
You knew something was wrong.
And that was it, and that's the last time I saw her.
Is a whole lie. And if there's a place that breathes life into that proverb, it's the town of Mayfield in Graves County, Kentucky.
You had to come to this town. Why did you have to physically be here in Mayfield?
Anytime you come to a location, it helps you understand the scene better.
Well-known podcaster Maggie Freeling dug into the Jessica Curran case. What did you wind up getting?
Well, what I think we got was the lengths we go to get justice.
Her reporting culminated in the new installment of the Bone Valley Podcast, Season 3, Graves County.
This is Graves County, Chapter 1. My name is Maggie Freeling. I'm a Pulitzer-winning journalist and producer who has spent years reporting on the criminal legal system. That's how I first heard about this case.
Coming to a place like this is so important to gather information, especially in a small town where everyone's talking.
Mayfield, Kentucky.
Yes.
What is that place like?
It's a very small town. It's pretty much like everybody knows everybody.
I'm Tina Schlosser, and I taught at Mayfield Middle School. Mayfield is a nice place to live. I raised 3 boys there. The people all seem to be friendly.
Mayfield to me was like, although it's small and countryish, it's still
It reminded me of like a little city.
I was born and raised in Mayfield. One thing that my family was kind of big on, be careful who you party with and hang with because you never know what they'll do to you.
There wasn't a lot of crime or anything like that. We knew that there were some kind of call themselves gangsters, little guys that, tried to sell drugs and stuff like that, and they got in trouble.
Mayfield, Kentucky is in the area where the KKK is based out of in Kentucky. And so there is a bit of segregation, I guess, that took place in that city.
Did you face discrimination growing up?
I would have to tell you the truth, yes. I had some of the teachers said that they didn't really want me in their class. It's just how it was back in those days.
Sunday, July 30th, it's the morning after Jessica had gone to that card game with her friends, and her parents stopped by her apartment.
We went by to pick her up to go to church that Sunday morning. We knocked on the door, we didn't get any answer, so we went to church. And then after we got out of church, we kind of went back to her house and started asking some of the people around the neighborhood if they had seen her. And of course, none of them said that they had seen her.
You knew something was wrong.
My wife had already said it because she hadn't called, but she normally called and checked on Zion. And I told her she's a young lady, 18. She just moved out like a week before.
That's where she had an apartment, huh?
Yeah.
What happens when her parents come in here that day?
Jessica's not here. They instantly were worried. Not normal for her.
She would never leave her son.
She would never leave her son. She was in love with her son, Zion.
Jessica had just moved to her apartment and had plans to go to college, so things were looking up for her. But the streets had been talking about her new baby boy. What was the talk around town about her baby?
That it belonged to a guy by the name of Jeremy Adams.
Jeremy Adams is the father of Jessica Curran's son.
I knew Jeremy. We weren't friends, but we knew each other. So he'd be off a vibe, and his vibe just never was a good vibe to me, so I never hung around him.
He was always nice. He was a sweet person, you know what I'm saying? But it's like certain people that he hung with, it's what gave him a bad name and a bad reputation.
There was no relationship between Jessica and Jeremy Adams, just kind of a one-time kind of thing, and he didn't want to see her anymore. She didn't want to see him anymore. She had another boyfriend, and that was Lolo Saxton, and he seems to be a pretty good guy and, pretty thoughtful.
Sheena and Joe went up at my mom's house asking about Jessica.
We didn't really know what to do, so we decided we'd check around and see what we could find out.
Jessica's family searches for 2 days, and then there's news of a startling discovery behind the middle school.
On August the 1st, 2000, school hadn't officially started. We had planted some plants out back, and I wanted to check on them. And so I was walking out back, and when I opened the door, I saw this shoe laying on the ground, and it was a sandal, and it looked like somebody had just walked out of it or ran out of it. And I looked to my left, and there was a body laying there. And I was, it was just floored me to no end. The body had been burned. I mean, it was a horrible sight to see.
And then you hear that a body has been found.
Yes, a body was found. And then that's when we became very nervous. We went on straight to the police department. They hadn't completely or exactly identified her yet. And then they showed some of the jewelry that she had on, and most of it was my wife. It was a total shock. I mean, we never dreamed that it would be her.
It was like in shock, like, are you serious? And it was like, wow, we just dropped our cups and just fell to the ground and just cried.
I can only imagine what it must be like to process your daughter being gone.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's hard. It's especially hard on my wife. It's something that stays deep in your soul.
Jessica Curran gets murdered. How did you find out?
It was the talk of the town.
A teacher found a burned body behind Mayfield Middle School. They say it looks like a homicide.
It's scary that somebody could dump a body almost in your front door.
Somebody get killed and burned up, definitely a big deal.
I was shocked, I was angry, and it hurt.
All agencies are working basically around the clock.
My thought was, who could have killed her?
Police start hearing about rumors ripping through Mayfield.
So far, police say there are no motives and no suspects.
It was like the crucible. I mean, everyone was out for everyone.
Pulling up to...
This looks like the police station.
Wow. This is the police station?
This is the police station.
Like a small little house. Podcaster Maggie Freeling and I drove through Mayfield, Kentucky, following the alleged path of the crime.
Her apartment was right back here. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
The last building right there.
On the left? And she had just moved in.
She had just moved in. She had barely spent any time there.
Police video documents the day Jessica Curran's body was discovered in that schoolyard. In a place where children play, murder investigators are now at work.
Police don't know how long the body has been here or even if the crime happened here. They do know the body had already started decomposing and there were signs of a struggle.
Jessica's sandals are there, and her ripped underwear untouched by fire, apparently removed before she was burned. Her dress is above her waist. The middle school is about a 20-minute walk from where Venetia Stubblefield says she and Jessica said goodbye. It's a long way from her home at Mayfield Plaza Apartments.
It's the middle school. And we were going right
Over there? So Mayfield Middle School, huh?
This is the Mayfield Middle School.
Yeah.
And back in 2000, none of this was here. So it was just this building. So right back here, and we're gonna walk up to this gate, there was a little garden area. And she was found right between there.
Did police initially believe she was killed here?
Initially, this is what they believed was the crime scene. It seems like someone was trying to run. Her sandal was found a little farther away from her body.
It's been approximately 2 years since we've had our last homicide here in Mayfield.
The Kentucky State Police and the state medical examiner are all called in to help work the case. A Mayfield patrolman, already tapped to make detective, is promoted on the spot.
The day that they found her body was the day I was made a detective.
Rookie detective Tim Fortner is appointed lead investigator, and with the help of more experienced detectives, he will run the case.
Because I was still in the uniform, they said go home and put your, get you some khakis and a white shirt. And so they sent me home to do that.
He came to the house and told me and my wife that he had absolutely no experience and he didn't know what he was doing. And he don't know why they put him on the case, but he was on the case and he was trying to do it.
On the day that he assigned you to the Jessica Curran murder investigation, did you feel like you were qualified to handle that investigation?
Absolutely not.
There was some physical evidence. There was a belt that came into play later in the case that was found.
The braided belt also. That was kind of burnt a little bit, so.
It was kind of really, really crazy for us to find out that she had been beaten, strangled, and then set on fire. That shows a lot of extreme hate.
The autopsy report notes Jessica suffered blunt head trauma, and based on the braided belt found next to her body, strangulation.
There was an issue about, in particular, a dress that Jessica had on at the time of her body being found.
One of the garments that she was wearing was just basically thrown away.
And I remember holding it up at the time of the autopsy, asking somebody
I'm not sure who was present at the autopsy. Do you want this article of clothing? And the answer was no.
Mayfield police acknowledged that Jessica's dress was not preserved.
It was just, it doesn't make sense. It was just really not good.
2 days earlier, soon after authorities believed Jessica Kern was killed, a deputy sheriff encountered a man named Quincy Cross just outside Mayfield.
And I asked him, what the problem was. He stated he'd run out of gas.
The deputy noted that Quincy kept pulling up his pants because he didn't have a belt on.
He had a pair of dark pants on with no belt.
It was a belt that was found near Jessica's body. That belt is used to kill Jessica.
He was holding a gas can, attempting to try to, said he spilled some gas on his pants. They could see a little residue on the car.
The accelerant that was used to burn Jessica's body was gasoline also.
The deputy gives Quincy a ride to a nearby home on Chris Drive, where Quincy had been partying earlier.
He ultimately was found in possession of cocaine. He was arrested.
Quincy Cross is in the county jail on drug charges when Jessica's burned body is discovered.
Collect call from Quincy Cross.
All these years later, I spoke to Quincy on the phone. Do you remember being questioned about Jessica's murder in 2000?
Yeah, but it didn't really bother me, you know what I'm saying? To hear somebody asking me questions, I kept telling them I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know nothing about none of that.
Quincy Cross says he's no killer, with little evidence to prove him wrong. Detectives turned to Jessica's cousin, Venetia, and a startling allegation. Is the person who says she last saw Jessica walking off alone, keeping secrets about her death.
I was like, Mom, the police is here. She's like, what? I was like, the police is here.
The investigation into the murder of Jessica Curran, who was found dead behind the Mayfield, Kentucky Middle School, graduates to high school when administrators alert police that 2 students may have information.
When the situation happened with Jessica, Victoria went back and lied on me to the school's resource police officer.
17-year-old Venetia Stubblefield and 15-year-old Victoria Caldwell, 2 schoolmates who will be at the center of this case for the next 25 years. So how would you describe what you've been through?
I would describe it as being very traumatic and not easygoing at all, and very hard.
What was going on?
There was a lot of sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental. It was just a lot.
That traumatized teenager is then caught up in a murder case. When they discovered Jessica's body, you were interviewed by investigators.
Yes.
It's 12:47 p.m. Thursday, the 7th of September. I'm at the Mayfield High School in the conference room outside the principal's office. Present is myself, Detective Tim Fortner, and also Victoria Caldwell.
Detectives pull Victoria out of class for an interview.
Somebody had given me some information that possibly that you might have ever heard a conversation between somebody about the murder or homicide, whatever you want to call it, of Jessica Curran.
She tells them that before the murder, she overheard Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica's baby, talking to Jessica's boyfriend, Carlos Saxton, nicknamed Lolo.
Okay, what were they saying? Do you remember? All I know is that first Jeremy said, payback's the B word. Payback's a bitch? Yeah. Okay. And he said, we're going to get her good.
But what Victoria says next is more astonishing. She says Venetia, the cousin who had said Jessica walked off alone that night, was now saying Jessica was taken for a ride by Jeremy Adams.
She went and told them that I approached her and told her that I know something about a girl's body being behind the school and about a girl being killed.
No, she was walking that way,
and Militia and Jeremy and some other people that were in the car. I think it was like 2 more people that was in the car. I guess they put her in the car or something, and I guess Jessica was trying to fight with them. And Militia told them to stop the car and let me out because I don't want nothing to do with it. And that's why she's here.
That's when we get a knock at the door, and Mom's like, see what it is at the door? I was like, Mom, the police is here. She's like, what? I was like, the police is here.
Venetia tells detectives Victoria is lying. Victoria tells police that you said you were in a white car with Jeremy Adams that night. Is that true?
No, sorry, it was not.
Why would she lie?
Because that's the typical person that she was, and that's the type of person the type of stuff that she did to her friends.
6 months after the murder, a grand jury indicts Jeremy Adams and Carlos Saxton. Adams is charged with murder, Saxton with complicity to commit murder. Both pled not guilty, denying any involvement in Jessica's death.
Saxton and Adams, do you think the police did a good job of investigating them?
I don't know. I was hoping that they did.
The case relied largely on 2 inmates who police say told them Adams had confessed and implicated Saxton. A trial is set for Adams, with Saxton's trial to follow. But between crime and punishment, it all falls apart.
The murder trial of Jeremy Adams was supposed to start this week, but Judge John Daudet dropped the charges.
The police and prosecutors do not hand over at least 18 tapes of interviews to the defense. So the case winds up being dismissed. The charges against Jeremy and Lolo are dropped.
The case is in shambles. So is the police department. The chief and assistant chief have left the force for unrelated reasons. Mayfield hands over the case to the Kentucky State Police.
This case is not going to be forgotten about by the family and friends of Jessica Curran, and I can assure you this case is not going to be forgotten about by the Kentucky State Police.
Victoria moves to California.
Detective Sam State with Kentucky State Police.
Venetia is questioned repeatedly by state police detectives.
We are here today to offer you full immunity. Okay, you can tell me today that you killed her, okay? And you're immune. I'm not here to charge you with anything. I will not charge you with anything, okay?
Every time she insists she had nothing to do with the death of Jessica Curran.
The night that she was murdered, that night after she left us, that was it. I didn't see her no more. So whatever statements y'all got saying that I did, well, you're wrong. Because I did not see her no more that night. I had stuck with my story from the beginning when they first questioned me. I never skipped a beat. I never switched it up. I've never changed anything out of my story.
But you're telling us right now that you were not there.
If y'all give me a Bible right now, I put my right hand on the God on that Bible to let y'all know that I was not there. Bring me the Bible, booty. My right hand on this Bible, I was never in that car, and I never was around.
People do that a day.
There you go.
Jessica may not be here today in body, but she is definitely here in spirit.
Now an unofficial investigator emerges, a cape-wearing crusader.
Susan Galbraith is one of those people who's kind of pushy and kind of just really knows everyone from around town. Again, it's a small town. She knows people. She knows law enforcement.
The day Jessica's body was found, Susan Galbraith, who's not a police officer, was right there at the crime scene.
That's when Susan says her curiosity turned into an obsession. If the cops weren't going to crack the case, she would.
I am 99% sure that I know exactly what happened the night that Jessie died, okay? I know who killed her.
The self-appointed detective interrogates Venetia.
People that I've talked to are saying that you were at the scene. To be honest with you, Sue, I had no part in none of this. I deny.
Still ahead, the citizen detective claims there's a witness willing to come forward, but in fear for their life.
She messages saying she has information, but she's scared to talk, and she doesn't know who she should talk to.
She was afraid that she was going to be hurt, injured, or killed.
The Mayfield Police Department had the case for 3 years and didn't solve it. And then the state police had the case for about 3 years.
It's now 6 years after Jessica Curran's murder, and Victoria Caldwell resurfaces.
The first lead the Mayfield police received was from Victoria.
Victoria indicated to the police that they should look at Jeremy Adams, the father of Jessica Curran's son, and also Carlos Saxton, who is her boyfriend at the time.
Remember, charges were dropped against both men. Now living in California, Victoria reaches out to the state police and says her sister Rosie has passed on an alleged threat to Victoria's life.
She just started yelling, like, I told you they were going to kill you.
She was yelling at you that she told you they were going to kill you?
Yeah.
That who was going to kill you?
Quincy.
Quincy Cross, the man who was arrested reeking of gasoline just hours after Jessica vanished. Police then speak to Rosie about that alleged death threat.
And Quincy directly said to you what?
That he wanted to kill my sister.
Okay. And did he tell you why?
Due to that case, because she was running her mouth.
Has Quincy or anybody else directly told you that they were involved in the murder of Jessica Curran?
Just Quincy. Quincy had told me he was involved in the murder. I have been there when they're discussing the murder and stuff like that, him and Tamara.
My name is Tamara Caldwell. Rosie and Victoria were my first cousins. We never talked to each other, really. I just didn't hang out with them.
Has Tamara ever told you that Quincy was involved in this murder?
Quincy never asked me or talked to me about anything about dealing with Jessica Curran's murder. He never did.
Tamara Caldwell, your relationship with her?
That's my cousin. We really never really got along, just because our moms really butted heads a lot.
Tamara had dated Quincy back in the day.
Yeah, I thought Quincy was cute. We got along great. My kids loved him. They still love him.
How odd would it be for you to call Tamara? Can you get her to talking about Quincy?
Yeah, I could probably get her talking about Quincy.
That same day, at the request of the state police, Rosie calls her cousin Tamara on the phone.
Because you know the cops are hot on Quincy.
Okay.
Did you know he was involved in that murder?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't know. Somebody said that they was going to try to kill Victoria, so. I don't know.
Tamara doesn't acknowledge any threat against Victoria, and today she says she doesn't even remember the call.
I do not recall that conversation that Rosie had with me. No, I don't.
The state police continue following leads and interviewing people. Then, 3 months later, they speak to Quincy Cross.
Who do you think killed Jessica?
I don't know. I didn't know her.
Detectives hone in on that morning after Jessica disappeared, when Quincy says he left that party on Chris Drive, ran out of gasoline, spilled some on himself, and encountered a deputy on the road.
He smelled gas on me. You know what I'm saying? He gonna put that on the paper, a strong odor of gasoline. Like I done.
What's gasoline got on your clothes got anything to do with anything?
Hold on, she was burnt up for one. Everybody led them to believe I had something to do with that.
Detectives also tell Quincy they believe his belt was used to kill Jessica Curran.
And I can tell you your belt's around her neck.
Oh well, I ain't do with it.
Your belt, her neck. It's there, dude.
Hey, I don't believe it's mine.
I'm telling you.
You come up and saying, yeah, it's yours. Okay, if it's mine, convict me.
After the interview, Quincy is free to leave. The state police continue investigating, and so does Susan Galbraith.
The gas, the belt, and his demeanor the night Jessica went missing. These three things made citizen investigator Susan Galbraith hone in on Quincy. She just needed to figure out how, why, and with whom.
Quincy came from out of town to this party at Chris Drive. So when Susan Galbraith starts her own citizen investigation, she finds that at this party at Chris Drive, there were two white boys, one of which turns out to be Jeff Burton.
They were saying that I was seen at a party. A lot of times people have like little house parties and stuff, and I'm a teenager, so I'm liable to pop in and pop out, you know, who knows.
So Susan decides she's gonna make a MySpace. MySpace is the before Facebook.
It was a social media platform that people used to communicate and meet each other on. If anybody had any information, she was trying to collect it to turn that over to the police.
The police had not spoken with Jeffrey Burton when Susan Galbraith posed his name, among others, in what she labeled as a person of interest list on that MySpace page. She would describe that list later in court.
I didn't say they did it. It was just, I just had person of interest, but it didn't say they did anything. I could have been interested in what kind of shoes they wear.
A friend of mine had called me and he's like, you might want to get on MySpace. They're talking about your name in connection with the murder of Jessica Curran. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, this makes no sense. So I'm kind of freaking out, and I call my mom and call my uncle.
When Susan Galbraith lists on MySpace that your nephew, Jeffrey Burton, is a key person of interest, what goes through your mind?
I couldn't believe it.
This don't make sense at all. These aren't people that I hung around, nothing like that at all.
A new story about what happened to Jessica emerges.
She hit her with the bat in her head. She went conscious.
Involving a surprising number of new suspects.
They try to make it like I was the one that struck the match and I threw it on her.
I kept telling them, I don't know anything.
This was the beginning of the end for me.
Were you, in fact, involved in that killing? So where are we here?
So this is Jeff Burton's house.
This is a house where they took Jessica to. She was allegedly killed.
A friend of mine had called me. They're talking about your name in connection with the murder of Jessica Curran. And I'm like, what in the world? You know, this makes no sense.
I did not know her or anything, man. I mean, you might have got some people to write some statements against me saying whatever. I don't understand, man.
Jeffrey, what does it feel like to be back here?
Honestly, it kind of makes my nerves a little shaky.
You want to go charged with murder? Well, now you tell me which way you want to go with. I didn't do it. Well, you tell us. I didn't do nothing. We know what happened. No, you think you know what happened.
He's an innocent man and spent all this time in prison.
There's nothing physical that puts him there. There's no DNA.
And you told the jury that Jessica was strangled with a belt.
Yes.
Victoria's story has now changed.
How much of what you testified under oath was true?
None of it was true.
Zero.
The tornado ripped through this town and destroyed Mayfield. What it did to people was so similar to the tornado of Jessica's death that came into this town.
Police don't know how long the body has been here or even if the crime happened here.
I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything. Very spooky.
So she walks off into the darkness, and that's the last you hear of her.
Yes, she kept straight ahead down that road and down that hill.
So many people were embroiled in this.
They had dropped the case on the two main guys. We got a case here that's went for years and nobody had done anything. And we wanted to see, something done.
With seemingly little movement in the case, the Curran family organizes marches, and the story makes headlines.
But Reverend Sharpton's National Action Network plans to make Jessica Curran's murder a national concern.
Around that same time, Susan Galbraith had started working with the state police.
We know exactly who killed Jessica Curran. There's a lot of people that are feeling comfortable right now because they think they've got away with it, but they haven't.
What do you think of Susan Galbraith? Just down this street is Mayfield Middle School, where Jessica's body was found 3 days after she was last seen. And just up the street, Susan Galbraith, that citizen sleuth, found a house she strongly believed was connected to Jessica's murder. It was the home of Jeff Burton.
In the year 2000, I was 20 years old. I just had a little daughter that February. A lot of the time I spent smoking, drinking, just being young, probably kind of wild a little bit.
So where are we here?
So this is Jeff Burton's house. This is where it used to be, and it has since been demolished.
Why did Susan Galbraith want to come here?
Susan kind of honed in on Jeff. She saw that there were 2 white boys at this party, and that's how she got Jeff's name. And from there, she realized his house, how close it is to the middle school.
In fact, she wrote about it in an email.
She did. As I walked around the house, I saw a garage. It was so eerie, felt as though time stood still. I crept over to the door and was overwhelmed with a feeling of dread. I didn't go in for fear of tainting the scene. I was so excited, I knew I had finally found where they had Jessica.
Susan would share her impressions of the visit with investigators from a third agency that's now leading the investigation.
I had gotten in touch with the Attorney General, and he said, I'm going to put somebody on that case. And then he sent down the KBI.
The Kentucky Bureau of Investigations was the law enforcement arm of the Kentucky Attorney General's office. The 2 investigators were Lee Wise and Robert O'Neill.
I was at the AG. My main function was in the drug unit. I was brought into the case mainly because of my ability to do investigations. And part of it was that the director, David James, felt like that Afro-American black person would probably have better inroads into getting people to come forth and talk.
These agents had not worked homicide cases, and these 2 agents are now working this homicide.
The one person that was instrumental in ultimately helping out on the case, Susan Galbraith, who was just a lady that was in the community that kind of took the weight of this case, and she really wanted to see something done on it. She was on the internet, and ultimately she got in contact with Victoria.
Susan was convinced Victoria was the key to cracking the case.
What were your interactions like with Susan Galbraith?
She would text me on MySpace and try to communicate with me.
Asking things like what?
About Jessica Curran, or if I really knew anything.
Victoria read one of her messages to Susan in a BBC radio program reporting on the case.
I am afraid for my life. I'm sorry about what happened. I will help the police as much as I can, but I really don't know who to trust.
You ultimately decide to talk to the KBI,
yes,
to come forward with them.
I told them a different story.
This interview is being conducted at the Radisson Inn, Santa Maria, California.
Victoria turned out to be Susan's missing puzzle piece. She would not only point the finger at Quincy, but at many others, including her own family.
Quincy and Tamara and this white guy had pulled up to my house.
You said you remembered his first name.
Yeah, it was Jeffrey. And my cousin had asked me if I wanted to take a ride with them. And I was like, yeah. We got right back to the same area of the middle school area. They picked up Anisha.
And then, Victoria says, they go pick up Jessica.
Jessica gets into the car. What she got up front, in the middle, and
In the middle of who?
in the middle of Quincy and Tamara. As we were driving, I remember Quincy was rubbing on one side of her leg, and Tamara was rubbing on the other side, and she kept pushing their hands away. So I remember Quincy got mad. When we got to the white guy's house, they had pulled Jessica to get out the car with them, kind of like forcing her. And they go inside, and then they go into this bedroom. And I heard yelling and screaming, so I was wondering what the hell was going on. And so I opened the door, and that's when I had seen Tamara holding Jessica down and Quincy over her with the belt around her neck. I touched her neck, and I told him that she was dead. I think Quincy lifted the head, and the white guy lifted the feet, and I believe Tamara put the blanket up under her to wrap her body in it. And after they wrapped her, they took her out of the house, put her in the back of the car. And we all got into the car, and Quincy stops to get gas. He got a cup, and he put the gas in the cup. And he gets back in the car, and that's when we ended up back at the middle school. I remember they had laid the body down. Quincy threw the gas on her, and Anisha threw the match.
And what happens after that?
The dominoes start falling.
Y'all killed her, right?
You wanna go charged with murder?
Do nothing. No, that's lies, man. Man.
Today's date is February the 25th. We're in the city of Mayfield, Kentucky. Present in the vehicle is Victoria Caldwell.
A few days after, Victoria tells the KBI how she says Jessica was murdered. Agents take her back to Mayfield, to the alleged crime scene.
This is a house where they took Jessica to. She was allegedly killed.
But all that's left there is a concrete slab, and no evidence is found.
This would be where Jeff Burton resided.
The crime scene went from the middle school. This is now the crime scene.
The day after that ride-along, Victoria is taken to the Attorney General's office where she provides a videotaped statement.
We're conducting a videotaped interview of Victoria Caldwell.
We stopped at the white guy's house.
Had you ever been to that house before?
Yes.
What were you doing over at his house?
My sister used to mess with me.
Which one?
Rosie.
Victoria says she knew Jeffrey's house because she says her sister Rosie was seeing Jeffrey at one point.
Then, Victoria gives authorities a different version of what she says happens in the car and how Jessica is taken inside the house.
Quincy. She hit her with a bat in her head.
A bat? What kind of bat?
Like a little bat.
Where'd he hit her?
I care.
What'd she do?
She went conscious.
Huh?
She went unconscious. Together.
Lear tells the KBI what he'd earlier told the state police, that he simply did not know Jessica.
I never knew who the girl was, never seen her before in my life. I mean, they showed me a picture, I didn't have a clue who Jessica Kern was.
Lear also adds he didn't know Cross and actually considered him the #1 suspect.
We looked at Ronnie Lear, but as far as him being active in the murder, we had no information as related to that.
We took all the evidence we had, put it all together, and we sat down with the Special Prosecutions Unit at the Attorney General's office. That's how it all came together as we were ready to go forward with the indictments. So we started bringing people in and talking to them.
Just 30 minutes north of Mayfield is the Drury Inn and Suites in Paducah, Kentucky. This low-key hotel's conference room becomes ground zero for intense questioning by the KBI, the Kentucky Bureau of Investigation. Jeffrey, what does it feel like to be back here?
Honestly, it kind of makes my nerves a little shaky again. Of course, it brings back one of the worst days of my life.
It affects you even now?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Well, just because, I mean, this was the beginning of the end for me, so to speak.
Today is Friday, March 23rd. We're here conducting an interview with Jeffrey Burton.
Jeffrey's house was the location where they brought Jessica Kern's body. That's where bad things happened to her.
Same people are going to stand across from you and point at you and say, "It's his house." You can look as confused.
It's more concern.
That's not concern. That's fear.
If that's the case, you might as well take me to jail now because I did not know her or anything, man. I mean, you might have got some people to write some statements against me saying whatever. I don't understand, man.
I'm freaking out, you know what I mean? I'm really on the inside, freaking out.
I know I didn't rape anybody and nobody was murdered around me anytime. Let me tell you something, Jeff. Anytime.
Remember, Victoria says she knew Jeffrey's house because she'd been there with her sister Rosie.
Jeffrey tried to deny it that he knew Rosie or that he knew Victoria.
Step right up here, Rosie. You ever seen this gentleman before?
She was already there, so we thought we'd just bring her in.
Or did we go to school together?
We never had sex. What he's saying, and I never called you.
We never went together.
No. Hey, come on now. You know that's a lie.
So I didn't even know her. So to have her in front of me, and she's kind of looking at them and then looking back at me.
When was the last time that you were contacted by Jeff Burton?
2 months ago.
2 months ago. 2 months ago?
Go ahead and take me to jail.
So I'm just like, man, just if you're gonna take me to jail, just take me to jail. You know what I mean? I was just over it.
The truth is gonna come out. What's done in the dark, ultimately it's gonna come to the light.
That's it.
And then you're arrested.
Just stand up. You're under arrest for murder and just
You got to go.
What was it like to be let out of that hotel room in handcuffs?
Just surreal, like I couldn't believe it was happening. It felt like a nightmare. It was like, there's no way this is real. There's no way. But it was real.
Jeffrey is arrested for multiple charges, including murder, kidnapping, and rape, and is carted off, passing Tamara Caldwell as she enters the room.
It was draining.
You said I didn't do nothing. But I didn't do nothing. Yes, you did.
And now Quincy Cross is in the hot seat.
You said Jeff Burton, you say you don't know him. How can a person lie on you that you don't know?
Man, look, you figured it out. That's for you. You investigated. You figured it out.
I was down in the cruiser for like hours. The first time I went up to the room, it was probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
The detectives questioned Tamara Caldwell about knowing Jeffrey Burton.
Tamara, did you know the guy just walked out of here? You ever seen him before?
Please.
The one that was just in this chair? No, I don't. I promise. I don't know. No, I don't know nothing.
You wasn't with him at night? Jessica was murdered?
No, I was not.
I didn't hang out with Jeffrey Burton. I knew him from school. That's it.
Those interviews were brutal.
It was draining because I kept telling him, I don't know anything. Leave me alone. I don't know anything.
You want to go charged with murder, or you want to just be charged with being there and sexually molesting that girl? Now you tell me which way you want to go with it.
I didn't do nothing.
Well, you tell us.
I didn't do nothing.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it. Y'all, I promise. I didn't do nothing.
Yes,
I don't know nothing about this. I don't know nothing about it. I was at home when this happened.
The detectives hammer home that they believe Tamara and Quincy were the ringleaders of this crime.
Q, murder, Jessica. It's up to you whether you go to jail on the charge that you can get out on, or whether you go on murder. But you go. So we're giving you the opportunity.
You the captain, right along with Quincy.
I don't know nothing about this. All I know is I met him in jail.
How could I have had anything to do with it? And this happened in 2000. I didn't know Quincy Cross until 2002. So how could I have anything to do with it, period? How did I get brought into this, period?
Tamara says she and Quincy parted ways in 2005.
You know, with them being charged together, obviously they want to make as much distance between themselves as they can.
Both Tamara and Quincy are being charged with murder, kidnapping, and rape. At the time, Quincy was 30 years old, born and raised in Tennessee and from a big family. He'd been in trouble before with the law.
Quincy Cross was involved in narcotics and drugs. That's verified. He's known as a drug dealer.
We come from a close-knit family. Quincy is my protective big brother. He was fun, he was definitely outspoken, but he also was nurturing.
He didn't meet many strangers because he was funny. He was a jokester.
We're here to conduct this interview with Quincy Cross, who is currently present with us.
We interviewed him for probably 2 hours.
We know what happened.
No, you think you know what happened.
We know what happened.
Okay. All right.
We might have missed the point. We might have missed the point here and there, but we know what happened.
If you know what's not your plan.
We're giving you a chance to come clean.
Ain't no need to come clean when you already know.
We're giving you a chance to have peace with yourself.
This is what peace is. I don't want to have it. Because I ain't got nothing to do with it.
You said Jeff Burton, you say you don't know him. How can a person lie on you that you don't know?
You investigated. You figured
I have to ask you, did you kill Jessica Curran?
No, I did not kill Jessica Curran, or have anything to do with killing Jessica Curran, or knew anybody that killed Jessica Curran.
Did you rape Jessica Curran?
No, I did not kill Jessica. I did not rape Jessica. I didn't even know Jessica. Let's get that in line. I never knew Jessica.
Were you involved in any way with Jessica's murder?
No, I was not. Anyway, no kind of way.
Were you in the car with Venetia the night Jessica was murdered?
I didn't even know Venetia.
Yet according to the KBI, Venetia is just one of several eyewitnesses who places Quincy at the center of this case.
The story that we got from Victoria and the story that we got from Venetia was consistent in a lot of areas.
Venetia, what was happening?
They was scuffling and shaking stuff. Quincy and Jessica.
Food covering.
Quincy.
And who?
Tamara.
What's your birthday?
He was walking in the house behind me on Victoria.
Venetia, she was another hard interview because she was very emotional.
I have ADHD and then I have a
Jessica in that car.
You know, it seems like she was trying to remember what happened, that she was kind of befuddled.
What you do to the body?
Took it and moved it to a different spot.
Where'd you move it in?
Behind the skull.
Victoria and Venetia are charged with evidence tampering and abuse of a corpse. They both pleaded guilty.
Venetia and Victoria will testify against the others.
being locked up behind bars. It took like a big toll on me.
Despite their repeated denials and a lack of forensic evidence, Quincy, Jeffrey, and Tamara head to trial, their lives in the balance, and a wrench thrown into the case. A weapon, prosecutors say, was buried in a backyard.
How do you know that this is the same tool that was used to hit Jessica?
The motive for Jessica Kern's murder is still unclear at this time. The connection between the three people arrested for her murder has not been confirmed either.
They were going to try me, Quincy, and Tamara together, and then they separated it to where they did Quincy by itself.
Hundreds of potential jurors showed up today. Quincy Omar Cross sat in court with his attorneys. The Curran family prayed before the trial began.
The trial is moved from Graves County to Hickman County because of all of the media attention and how big this case was.
The Jessica Curran murder trial began early this morning here in Clinton, Kentucky, which allowed the prosecution to get right into laying their case against Quincy Omar Cross.
Jessica Curran was sexually assaulted and brutally murdered by the defendant, and I will ask you to find the defendant, Quincy Omar Cross, guilty.
Over the course of the next week, in a trial captured on sometimes grainy VHS tape, the prosecution calls more than 30 witnesses, starting with Jessica's family.
You recognize that as Jessica's shoe?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, these are hers.
People who were at the Chris Drive party testify about seeing Quincy wave his belt around and talk about wanting to go find girls.
I remember he swinging at me that night.
Quincy's defense points out that many people wore a similar belt.
A common belt.
Yes, sir.
Common belt back then.
Yes, sir, I suppose.
Other witnesses testify that Quincy Cross told them he was involved in Jessica's death.
And he's like, well, you told on me for killing that girl.
She overheard something that she wasn't supposed to hear, and we had to take care of that. We kind of brushed him off because we thought he's always talking big.
He said, I, which is Quincy Cross, killed Jessica Curran. And he said, if y'all say anything, that I'm gonna do you the same way I did her.
Quincy Cross would just kind of sit there in the courtroom like he wasn't really worried about it. And he wasn't scared or nothing. He's just relaxed.
Jessica's cousin, Venetia, who initially said Jessica had walked home, now testifies that she, Quincy, and others went to Jeffrey's house that night.
Jessica went in the house?
Yes, ma'am.
How did she get in the house?
He made her walk in there.
Venetia says that Quincy led Jessica inside and killed her.
Who killed Jessica Curran?
Quincy Cross.
How did he do that?
When I seen him, he was standing over with a belt in his hand around her neck.
But the star witness for the prosecution is Victoria Caldwell, who has been at the center of the case since the beginning.
Doris Victoria Caldwell.
Were you nervous?
Yes, I was very nervous.
Victoria testifies over several days, saying that after they picked up Jessica, Quincy knocked Jessica unconscious in the car in the driveway of Jeffrey Burton's home.
I'm getting out of the car. Quincy and Jack carried Jessica's body to the side, the side door.
You told the jury that Jessica was strangled with a belt.
Yes. She just kept pulling on it. You could hear her gasping for air.
It was hard for me to believe that they could have been that cold and callous.
Then, Victoria changes her story, now saying Quincy Cross struck Jessica twice, once with a bat, the second time with a ratchet wrench.
That's the tool that was used. It's a long tool, and in the middle has a little knob that makes a clicking noise.
Law enforcement officers say they find the object buried in Victoria's sister's yard.
How do you know that this is the same tool that was used to hit Jessica?
Because I'm the one who buried it.
Nobody mentioned the clicking ratchet until after it was found. They were always saying metal bat until the ratchet was found. Then all of a sudden, 2 days later, is the first mention of a metal ratchet with clicking sound. Isn't that amazing?
There are glaring inconsistencies in Victoria and Venetia's statements. Like, Venetia cannot confidently say if Quincy, Jeff, or Tamara struck Jessica with any object.
When we look at the totality of this case, we have independent corroboration. Talking to Victoria is consistent with the important areas of what Venetia said.
We're going to mainly look at the credibility of Victoria and Venetia. And there's no way they both can be telling the truth. They both admitted that they lied to the Commonwealth all the way up to the very end.
The defense strategy was to question the credibility of everything, from the circumstantial evidence to the prosecution's witness testimony.
You always told the case guy.
No.
You told the police that Jessica was murdered because she was going to tell Ronnie Lear's wife that he was sleeping with her, right?
I guess.
That was a lie too, was it not?
Yes.
There is no physical evidence that connects Quincy to Jessica, to that crime scene at the middle school.
When I spoke to Quincy on the phone, I asked him about Jessica's murder. Why would Victoria and Venetia point the finger at you?
Okay, I never knew Victoria. I never knew Venetia at the time, so I knew it was lying anyway.
The verdict is next, and what happens to those co-defendants?
They're gonna do the same thing to me over a lie. How the hell is this happening?
And what those witnesses at the trial told me about their testimony. You're now saying that what you testified to in court was a lie.
On the day that the verdict came, I remember being outside with some family.
We thought on a capital murder case it would take a while, but it took very little time.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder under instruction number 7.
The jury deliberated only 3 hours and came back with a guilty verdict.
My whole family was devastated.
How is this real? Is this actually happening?
What went through your mind when you heard the word guilty?
You see, it was heartbreaking to be that person for one, and for the world to see that of me, and for the people to believe that. Oh man, that took me down to a dark place right there.
I was glad to see somebody, get punishment for it. I told them I didn't want to have a death penalty. I could do life without the possibility of parole, but I wouldn't do a death penalty.
After Quincy was convicted, everyone else who was going up for trial was terrified.
Well, certainly we were concerned after that guilty verdict.
At first I'm ready, gun-ho ready, and now I'm just like, they're gonna do the same thing to me over a lie. How the hell is this happening?
I was like, they're gonna kill me now. What is going on? They convict him, they definitely gonna convict us.
Jeffrey and Tamara took plea deals for the lesser charge of manslaughter and the abuse of a corpse.
Jeff and Tamara both took what is called an Alford plea. And it's basically saying, I'm telling you I didn't do this, but I'm acknowledging that the state has enough evidence to convict me.
And I didn't know that they look at it as a guilty plea. But I'm scared that's what they done to Quincy over a lie. So I'm like, man, they're gonna do the same thing to me. So I did like 7 years.
I took the Alford plea because my public defender said that I wouldn't get much time. I got 15 years, but I served 5 years, 8 months, and 2 days.
It was awful. I had to quit my job to take care of my daughter's kids. They asked for Mama every day.
So when Jeff took that plea, he agreed to be a convicted felon.
Everything kind of fell apart after that.
The unthinkable thing happens to you. And then, people that don't know you think you're a murderer, you killed somebody.
Jeffrey's oldest daughter, Shyla, was just 7 years old when he went to prison. This is you visiting him in prison?
That's probably right after it happened. I was about, I would say 8 or 9 in that one, and still just trying to enjoy the moments.
Did anybody tell you why he was there?
No one told me specifically what had happened, but over the years I heard stuff, figured stuff out, and as I've gotten older, I totally get it. He's an innocent man and spent all this time in prison.
Did you ever wonder, maybe my dad did do this?
Never.
Never?
No.
Why not?
Because that's my dad. I know him, and he wouldn't hurt a fly.
For years, Quincy tried appealing his conviction to no avail, but he's now gained an army of advocates.
It's a very strong, supportive group of people who will not take no for an answer.
I just believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. My goal is to get Quincy Cross out.
He doesn't have a piece of evidence that links him toward anything.
But I know in my heart that he's innocent because there's nothing physical that puts him there. There's no DNA.
Quincy's supporters have worked to garner attention for his cause.
It was very exciting for me to be told that there was a podcast that was going to be done.
There is a new 6-part podcast, Bone Valley Season 3, Graves County, which explores the Jessica Curran case.
This is Graves County, Chapter 6, Something Rotten.
Now, more than 2 decades after the murder of Jessica Curran, the Kentucky Innocence Project has taken on Quincy's case.
There were a lot of markers of potential wrongful conviction. We believe we have the evidence to exonerate him and walk him out of prison. So that's our goal.
The Kentucky Innocence Project had their work cut out for them. It's very hard to get a conviction overturned in the state of Kentucky, or in most of the country, really. One of the many hurdles is that Quincy's attorneys have to present new evidence that points to his innocence.
They have filed a motion to vacate his conviction that includes new claims about those key witnesses at the trial.
Benicia Stubblefield and Victoria Caldwell in particular have said that they lied at the trial.
You're now saying that that story, that what you testified to in court, was a lie.
Yes, I didn't know nothing of that case. I didn't even know nothing about the murder even
So
being
why
took
did you
place.
say that?
Because I was forced to say it. That's the thing.
What did you say at the trial?
I was forced to say that Quincy Cross took part in it. I was forced to say that Jeffrey Burton and Tamara Caldwell had part in it, knowing that they didn't.
Were you, in fact, involved in that killing?
No, not at all.
How much of what you testified under oath was true and how much was not?
None of it was true.
Zero.
Zero. Nothing was true. I don't know nothing about this case. I wasn't there. I don't know all the people.
You testified about disturbing sexual acts involving Jessica's body. Did those take place?
No, not at all. Like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know anything at all.
But if it never happened, why provide such graphic detail?
Because they told me what to say.
In response to the motion, the state denies that witnesses were pressured to fabricate their stories or told what to say. They also point to this affidavit from 2016, where Victoria refutes that she lied at trial or was told to say something that wasn't true.
We never tried to get anybody to say anything that was not true.
Well, there is this thing called evidence, and justice and juries, and they weighed all the evidence, and Quincy's in prison. There's only been one conspiracy, and that's a conspiracy to kill Jessica Curran, and try to get away with it.
The state stands by Quincy's conviction. It argues that Victoria and Venetia's many lies to investigators were brought up at the trial and that a jury still convicted him.
Why should we believe you now after all the lies you told?
I feel like I should believe because people who really know me know that I'm a genuine person. I would never put innocent people away. I would never do it.
Has anyone paid you or pressured you?
No, not
You're
at all.
doing this because...
I'm tired, and I think it's time for the truth to come out.
What would you say to them?
I would apologize to them, and I would tell them how sorry I am for them to get convicted.
But truly and honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I hope that each and every one of y'all can forgive me.
Can you forgive them?
Most definitely, I can forgive them. I already forgave them.
Now, it all comes down to this. A court date just hours ago for a hearing that may lead to a new trial for Quincy.
And I have an interest in the truth coming out.
All right, KIP file room. I think it's probably in one of these working files. Yep, here's the KBI investigation. We are preparing to present all of the new evidence, the mountain of new evidence, all of the different pieces that we have uncovered since trial that is new, that we believe a jury should have heard. It's different, right?
It all comes down to this hearing in this makeshift courthouse.
It's a big deal, and for a long time we didn't have no voice.
The Innocence Project making their case for Quincy to get a new trial.
This could be your last chance.
Hey, it's all right. Sometimes we deal cards that we got to play, you know. But I know that I've done no wrong.
I am anxious. I am hoping for the best.
There is a lot on the line today. It just potentially could free us, so to speak.
All rise. Multiple witnesses and co-defendants gave perjured testimony that they have now recanted. And the now recanted statement is the only evidence that ever linked Mr. Cross to this crime.
I would just refer the court to the case law that recanted testimony after trial is viewed with distrust.
I know I'm going to have an evidentiary hearing. I'm going to focus only on the recantations of Venetia Stubblefield, Victoria Caldwell.
A major victory for Quincy and his supporters.
They did it. My brother, y'all. We are very pleased with the judge's decision. We look forward to being able to put on the evidence in support of Quincy's innocence at the hearing.
Witnesses like Venetia and Victoria will be heard in person to tell their stories to the court. Also, what happened in the courtroom is the judge said, you know, if they get back up on the stand and say we lied, that's perjury. So that's a huge consideration for them.
And just outside the court, Jeff Burton on his knees, pleading with Venetia.
I'm begging. I've been through this a lot, and I'm so sorry that you had this.
And Venetia said, you know, they've ruined my life too. I will do the right thing.
I always said that through all of this, something good's got to come out of it.
You know each other?
Yes, sir. We know each other. How you doing?
Quincy's dad has an unlikely ally joining him in this fight.
This is very unusual. The father of the victim and the father of the man convicted of killing her joining forces, trying to get answers.
Everybody thinks that this is an odd couple. We're not an odd couple because we want the same thing. He wants justice for his daughter. I want justice for my son.
I just don't think he could do the stuff that was done.
Tragedy brought you together.
Tragedy brought us together, and it's gonna keep us together until we get what we need, justice. I can't say I feel his pain, but I know he feels my pain, and I feel some of his pain.
Do I think that Joe can find some comfort in knowing he helped Quincy? I think is the most that he can get.
We've suffered through it long time. And we just don't feel like we have a completion. Justice for Jessica would be finding the real people that murdered her. Sometimes I do believe she's guiding me. I do believe that she wants me to stay on the case all the way to the end, till the truth comes out. My promise to her is I won't ever stop. I don't quit.
That's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir from all of us here at 2020 and ABC News. Good night.
This is me, covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us.
I believe that me and my team may have just found some or part of Susan Powell's remains.
A search happening hundreds of feet down, deep inside of a mine in Utah's West Desert. This 12 years after her disappearance.
Found a shotgun. We started finding bones. There was a rib here, a collarbone there, a piece of vertebra. We found clothing.
When I pulled those pants out of the dirt, I thought, this is different.
I'm just grateful that people are still looking for Susan.
And the phone rang, and the voice on the other end said, "When was the last time you saw Susan?" And I instantly kind of felt like dread. What has happened?
28-year-old Susan Powell was last seen Sunday.
It has been 3 days. 4 days and counting. Been missing for a week.
Josh had taken the children on a middle-of-the-night camping trip. It was freezing cold. None of this makes any sense.
He was like, "Yeah, the kids are here. No, Susan's not with me." And I was like, "Well, where is she?" You know, and he was like, "I don't know."
Who were you camping with?
My dad and my mom. The children said, "Mommy was in the van but didn't come back with us." Pretty significant thing for a 4-year-old to tell a detective.
She even goes as far as to say, if I die, it may not be an accident.
Okay, go ahead and ask one last question.
How am I going to find your wife when I go?
Susan was one of 4 daughters born to Chuck and Judy Cox. She was just, a really typical girl and teenager. She liked to ride horses.
She's my partner in crime. Susan tried to be rebellious, but she had too good of a heart.
She was doing well in church and school, had friends, she loved choir.
She liked her hair done, her nails done, wore stylish clothes.
Susan had gone to cosmetology school. She liked to make other people feel good about themselves.
She got interested in boys as a teenager. She met Josh when she was 18 at a social event for young Mormons, and he was in his 20s, and she hadn't dated a lot.
In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if you are unmarried, you can attend a congregation that is for other unmarried individuals. And so Josh and Susan are both kind of circulating in this singles crowd.
There are these incredible home movies taken by Josh's dad, which were later released by police, that show the couple's blossoming relationship.
You'll cut that out of the tape, right?
When I first met Josh, I thought he was cute. He was very confident, and he thought he could get any girl he wanted.
Susan said that he was treating her really well, and he cared about her, and he promised he'd make her happy.
Josh Powell was a ambitious, strong-headed, kind of nerdy guy.
Just tall, dorky, his head's too big for his shoulders. He just looked awkward.
He's got a job, he's got his own place, and he's going to college, sounding pretty good.
He's going to go to school for business, so he's somebody who is bright when he applies himself.
They quickly fell in love. You see pictures of them, they looked to be completely smitten.
Josh and Susan's relationship goes from not knowing each other at all in October to being engaged by the end of December.
When she told me she was getting married, I wasn't that supportive because she barely knew him. And she just assured me that she's going to be really happy and that he wanted in life what she wanted in life.
Those videos also capture Josh and Susan's wedding and the home life they built together after.
Susan looked very pretty at her wedding. Very traditional, long white dress.
Yeah. So you put the ring in that box and opened it up, put it on.
She was very excited to show off Josh and start their lives together.
Let's see the ring. Let's see that ring. Hold your hand up, please.
It's a young person's love story.
Monday morning, December 7th, 2009. They didn't show up.
Debbie Caldwell. She is the daycare provider for Charlie and Braden Powell.
And by 7 o'clock, still no Susan. She had to be to work at 7. So that's not like Susan to be late and not call.
They don't show up that Monday morning as the snowstorm is coming in, and Debbie Caldwell becomes concerned.
Debbie tried to call Susan on the phone, tried to call Josh, couldn't reach anybody.
So I got in the van and I went up the street to her house. And as I pulled into her circle, there was no tire tracks in the driveway. So I pounded on the door and I got no answer.
So Debbie calls the emergency contact, which is Josh's sister Jennifer Graves and Josh's mom, Terry Powell.
The conclusion that we came to was carbon monoxide. They're probably dead in their beds. We ended up calling the police.
911, what is your emergency?
My son and his wife and their 2 children are not responding to calls, or they're not responding to people pounding on their door, and there's no tracks coming out of their driveway. I was worried that maybe gas has been left on or something like that.
And a couple of officers come out on a welfare check. They determine that the best course of action is to break a window to see whether or not the family is in there.
And they said, we'll go in if you'll pay for the window. And so we said, yeah, absolutely.
They'd find evidence that pointed to some unusual circumstances.
Why would that be here? That just wasn't a normal thing.
Good Monday morning, Utah.
It is December 7th.
Snow and ice.
Slick Street, 2 to 4 feet of snow in this.
December 7th, 2009, I was viewing a bank robbery case, and the sergeant asked me to reach out to patrol. They were out on a missing family out on the west side of town.
Jennifer gave permission to the police to break a window and go into the house.
Most officers just kind of shimmied in. He was like, wait, what is up with the fans? There are 2 box fans pointed at the carpet in the living room, and we were all confused.
The officers cleared the entire residence and found nobody inside the home. And the Powell vehicle, which was a blue minivan, it wasn't parked in the garage.
The first thing I saw was Susan's purse was on a table, and I started pulling out things. You know, I found her keys, her wallet, and had her driver's license and her credit card.
You would expect that if she had left on her own, was intending to go someplace, she would have taken those items.
The kitchen, the master bedroom was fairly clean. I mean, the bed wasn't made. The bedroom for the children, the blankets were missing. But yeah, the house was pretty orderly. There was no sign of a disturbance, physical altercation inside of the residence.
Is this 16? Yeah.
On the morning of December 7th, I was sitting in my family room, homeschooling my 3 kids, and the phone rang. Voice on the other end said, Josh, Susan, and the boys are missing, and nobody's seen them since yesterday. It's just the most horrible, sickening feeling. I just thought, what has happened?
Susan's friends were afraid that they'd gone out on a jaunt because Josh liked to drive and take photographs and maybe had slipped off a cliff or they'd gotten stuck in the snow.
I made a few phone calls asking other people in the congregation if anyone had seen Susan. Giovanna goes, I actually had dinner with them last night.
Susan asked Giovanna to come over to the house and help her with her knitting and crocheting. While she was there, Josh, who never did anything domestic at all, offered to make people dinner.
She was crocheting on her blanket. I was working on the yarn. Josh and the boys were in the kitchen cooking.
He called his father, Steve, to ask for a recipe for pancakes. Everything he did was a little bit different routine than anybody else would have. He made them one by one. He took a plate into Giovanna. He took a plate with different pancakes made, obviously, into Susan.
He and the boys ate at the table, and he brought our plates into us in the living rooms. I think that was probably very unusual.
I never ever witnessed them ever eating in the living room.
Shortly after that, Susan began to not feel well. Susan laid down, and Josh sort of suggested to Giovanna that it was time for her to leave.
He was going to take the boys sledding, and he and the boys actually drove out before I had finished putting on my seatbelt. That was the last time I saw anybody, or around 5.
My brother finally called right away, asked about the kids, asked about Susan, and he was like, yeah, the kids are here. No, Susan's not with me. And I was like, well, where is she? You know, and he was like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, she went to work.
Josh drives all the way south to a place called Point of the Mountain, and he places a phone call to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back, and I can't believe that somehow my brain missed the day. I thought today was Sunday. That was really, really stupid. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
We sat there and waited. It was a long time. It was an hour, maybe more. Josh finally showed up at the house.
Josh had taken the children on a middle-of-the-night camping trip. It was freezing cold. None of this makes any sense, except to him, he does things spontaneously, without any plan. And he took the kids. He said that he left Susan in the house. She was sleeping.
We really wanted to talk with Josh, and we wanted to record it. We had Josh follow us to the substation. He was adamant about taking the boys with him.
When's the last time you seen her?
Probably about midnight of last night.
Where at?
We're finishing up a movie.
What movie did you guys watch?
Here you go, buddy.
Josh is very evasive, and he uses the kids who are in the room to distract away.
He wasn't forthcoming with answers or information, so it was very frustrating.
And where did you drive to?
Well, I started heading south through Tooele, turned onto the Pony Express.
How far down the Pony Express did you go?
Not very far. Maybe 20 miles, I don't know.
So what did you do once you got there?
Hooked up a heater and had a fire for the boys.
Josh said they drove to Simpson Springs and had s'mores over a campfire. It's not really very clear exactly what happened that evening and the next morning.
We asked him if we could search his minivan, and he agreed. The minivan was full of camping supplies, like there was a tarp, a generator, shovel, graham crackers.
During that search of the minivan, where they find Susan's phone hidden in the center console. It's this pink cell phone, clearly not Josh's.
And he was kind of like deer in headlights. He just kind of looked at us.
In no way did it make any sense. Susan's cell phone is in the van with him. Where the heck was Susan?
Detectives talked to Josh and Susan's son, Charlie.
There was one particular statement that raised a lot of eyebrows.
Who were you camping with? My dad and my mom and my little brother.
Her heart beat faster. Her stomach turned in somersaults.
I just lost it.
9 o'clock that night, Jennifer told me that Josh and the boys are home, and I'm like, well, where's Susan? And she said, we don't know.
But as soon as I heard that he was back and Susan was not with them, I instantly said to myself, what has he done?
It became like this game of telephone, where people were passing along these little bits of information, and suddenly a larger story was coming together.
He said he was out driving around, he'd gone out camping with the boys. And I'm like, are you a crazy man? It was cold.
That is 100% Josh. He did that kind of stuff all the time.
But Susan would have never allowed him to ever.
The following morning, he is observed with the minivan pulled out of the garage, all the doors open, thoroughly cleaning it, wiping it down, vacuuming it.
It was really odd to me because he was running around the house grabbing piles of towels and putting them in the washer, and finally we're like, you've got to go to your interview with the police.
All right, no problem. Have a seat. Let me go grab my notebook and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay. Josh Powell kind of has a uniform of sorts. It's typically a t-shirt, it's a leather jacket, it's denim pants, and it's dingy white shoes. When Josh goes in to talk to the police, in the tape, you see him initially acting very emotional.
I don't know. I didn't even think it was that. It didn't even sink in yesterday.
He's crying. His voice is shaking. He's just trying to hold it together. But as Detective Maxwell continues to push Josh about what's going on, Josh's demeanor changes.
I can't remember what we were doing.
Okay. So you don't remember what you guys did from 6 o'clock till you went to bed on Saturday night?
I just don't remember what activity we were doing.
Josh is not a participant at all in talking about his missing wife.
Shows no urgency in getting out to go look for her.
During the day, but...
Have you checked any places where she could be?
I haven't had much of a chance to do any of that yet.
He asks police no questions about what they're doing to find her.
Jack, what places should we go check to see if we can find her?
Beauty supply? I don't think she would be there, but she likes them.
And he offers no suggestions, really, about where they might look.
Okay, let me ask you this before you go.
Go ahead and ask one last question.
How am I going to find your wife without your help?
While I'm interviewing him, another colleague conducted a child forensic interview.
Right there. Yeah. Good job. It's got nice lights, huh? Pretty.
We went to the Children's Justice Center, and they were able to interview Charlie. Braden really wouldn't talk to them.
Okay. Well, what did you do last night? Go camping. You went camping? Who were you camping with? My dad and my mom and my little brother.
The children said, Mommy was in the van but didn't come back with us. A pretty significant thing for a 4-year-old to tell a detective.
We got in the airplane, and the airplane went to Dinosaur National Park. Oh. You went to an airplane yesterday?
Charlie's interview is perplexing because he says a lot of things that don't make much sense.
Okay, so Charlie, when you guys came home from camping, who came home with you? My dad. And? And my mom stayed at Dinosaur National Park. My mom stayed where a Christmas park.
There was one particular statement that raised a lot of eyebrows. Mommy is with the Crystals. And how some people interpreted that was that the boys had been with their mom and she was not alive.
Your children are telling our detectives that Mom went with you guys last night and that she didn't come back.
She did not go with us. They know that she didn't go with us.
So your kids lie then? Do your kids lie?
Sometimes they do.
With children, they're going to go from threads of truth and reality to fantasy. And maybe things that happened long before Mom disappeared, they're still in his memory, and in his mind sort of fuses together.
She was not with us. I didn't leave her at the Pony Express. I didn't just take her out and drop her off or even do anything. I do want the lawyer, because at this point, I definitely want the lawyer.
Could have I went and booked him into jail? Yeah, I could have. But we wanted to find Susan, so we were putting a GPS tracker on his van. We want him to be out and about and see where he goes.
Instead of picking up his van, he went to the airport. He rented a Ford Focus.
And he vanishes in that rental car for 18 hours. And when he returns that rental car, it has an additional 807 miles on the odometer. To this day, we don't know where Josh went.
Very quickly, the police realized that Josh was lying to them, that he was evasive, and he was not acting like a bereaved husband.
When detectives spoke with Susan's friends, there was a very different picture of this marriage.
She went to see a divorce lawyer, and he told her to make a videotape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
In a developing story, the search continues this morning
for a missing wife and mother in West Valley City.
We had been hearing some buzz in the community that there was a woman who was missing.
28-year-old Susan Powell was last seen
Sunday night, a family dinner with other friends.
It has been 3 days.
4 days and counting.
Been missing for a week.
Utah gets missing persons cases almost every day, so this didn't really stand out as anything out of the normal.
ABC4's Brian Carlson is live at the West Valley Police Station tonight.
Until you start to hear some of the details unravel.
We've learned the search warrants for the Powell's home have now been sealed off.
It's strange that he came home with the kids and not her.
West Valley City Police calling this one a puzzler.
Call it suspicious.
Not even a clue.
If you see her or know anything, please contact the West Valley Police Department.
Her friends and family were just starting to ask questions. They were out there with flyers, just trying to find out where she might be.
Volunteers fanned out, handing out flyers of Susan Powell.
Josh, after Susan went missing, he went from the guy who was talking about everything and knew everything to somebody who said nothing, knew nothing.
And a husband who says he does not know what has happened to her.
We know the answers are out there, and we need those who know where she is and what happened to come forward.
I held a candlelight vigil a few days into her disappearance, and Josh came to that late.
After the candlelight vigil was over, Josh Powell did show up here in the park with his 2 children, but he quickly left without saying anything.
Charlie had come up to me and he was telling me, Debbie, my hands are cold, my hands are cold. And Josh scooped Charlie up and kind of pulled him away like this.
And reporters were trying to chase him through the snow, and he was walking away from them.
You were camping with the boys?
I have to go get my boys.
There was no point at which Josh ever seemed to even be concerned that Susan was missing. If he wanted to help on the website, he should have detailed a timeline. He never participated in any of the massive, massive efforts that myself and relatives and friends launched to put out flyers in malls and parking lots.
He didn't seem like he was engaged at all in what was going on. It seemed like his mind was somewhere else. He spoke very briefly with local media.
I've been trying to figure out what I can do so I don't sit idle. I'm dealing with this repeatedly.
People were upset that he didn't seem upset that she was missing. And so people thought that's because he's guilty.
Josh, will you give us a comment today?
Pointing the fingers at Joshua, I don't want to do that.
It seemed like initially Josh and Susan were a pretty conservative couple, loving family, couple of kids. We learned that there was a lot of distress, a lot of turmoil in their marriage.
He controlled the money, even though she was the breadwinner.
Josh is very willing to spend money building himself a fancy computer. Susan doesn't get that privilege.
There's my new printer.
With the drawers underneath, shelving.
It's sad to look at that family and know now what was actually going on. Susan was tormented about how troubled the marriage was.
She'd been really happy, he'd been a great husband, and she said that he really changed. He became not affectionate.
Taking a picture of the back of your head.
Well, awkward to talk about, but they also had issues, you know, in the bedroom. Susan was this beautiful girl, but Josh just was not interested in her sexually. It was just really weird.
He kept her at arm's length. He wouldn't kiss her anymore. He wouldn't touch her. He wouldn't hold her hand.
Josh and Susan's marriage reaches rock bottom in the summer of 2008. Josh and Susan are constantly fighting. They're arguing in front of the kids. Josh is exhibiting extreme control over Susan.
She said one time we were having a screaming fight and I shoved him, pushed me back, and he goes, "If you ever do that again, I'm gonna hit you." But she said he never did.
Susan's now starting to think about, I've got to get out of this marriage.
She went to see a divorce lawyer one time for a free consultation at my advice, and he told her to make a videotape of everything in your house.
This is me, July 29th, 2008, covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. And here is our safe. Got all sorts of files, financial information, speakers, 5.1 surround sound. Broke this and threw all my DVDs and made a mess. There's a hole in that wall. Beautiful diamond necklace my mom bought. Jade, that's a family heirloom. Not worth thousands of dollars, but I have assets. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible. After she would email me a lot and just say it, I want to do everything in my power to save my marriage before I walk away.
Josh had warned her, if you divorce me, you'll never see the children. So she stayed.
Police ended up discovering the safety deposit box that Susan kept secretly from Josh at the bank where she worked. In it, they found a DVD, some savings bonds, and there was a makeshift will and testament.
The last will and testament, handwritten on one piece of paper, both sides, top to bottom, side to side. There was no room to write another word.
She wrote about how bad the marriage had become. She talked about $1 million life insurance policy that Josh had taken out on her. And she told her boys she would never leave them.
She even goes as far as to say, if I die, it may not be an accident.
That is our biggest piece of evidence. It's her last words. There was no doubt that this document was authored by Susan.
The biggest mystery of this case is why didn't police arrest Josh Powell?
I was frustrated because they hadn't arrested him. I felt they had plenty of evidence to arrest him.
Police have officially named Joshua Powell a person of interest in the disappearance of his wife, Susan.
The West Valley City Police Department took a lot of heat for not throwing the handcuffs on Josh.
There's a pile of circumstantial evidence. Is there enough there to arrest him and book him into jail and hold him accountable? Absolutely there is. Could we? No. The district attorney's office would not file any charges. They were very specific and told us that we needed to wait 12 months with no body.
ABC News reached out to the DA at the time, who declined to respond to this claim and refused to comment on the case.
Within days of Susan's disappearance, he had closed their bank accounts, cashed out her retirement fund, took the boys to Puyallup.
People we talked to say they can't believe that Joshua Powell has emptied the house and left what is ground zero in the disappearance of his wife. They say it only casts more doubt on a man they're having an increasingly difficult time believing.
I suddenly had this thought, I should get Josh to confess.
Jennifer volunteered with the police to wear a wire.
What is it?
I know what I've done, and I haven't done anything.
Then where is Susan?
For right now, you just endure and take each day as you can.
When Josh told police he took the boys camping in the middle of the night in Utah's West Desert, police started their search there.
Detectives are scouring rocky hillsides and abandoned mine tunnels for any signs of Susan Powell.
But police for months and months would search these mines, taking K-9 teams.
And West Valley police detectives say they plan to survey as many as possible.
The most intense part of this search is happening right at the bottom of this hill.
Investigators are swarming the high desert.
Josh told somebody that the best place to dispose of a body would be in a mine.
This is one of those abandoned mine shafts in which detectives went through.
Nobody'd ever find him.
It's like finding a needle in the haystack. A lot of questions still unanswered at this point.
There's a big part of you missing, and you want to know the truth.
But the family won't give up hope.
There are still purple ribbons at their home. There are still stickers on car windows.
Josh decides that he's going to take the boys up to his dad's house in Washington to try to get away from the media circus.
You have anything to say?
Josh, will you give us a comment
You're
today?
a person of interest, Josh.
Josh's dad, Steve Powell, he takes control. He shields Josh from the media and becomes his most ardent defender.
I call it Fort Powell because it became a fortress.
They had the windows, blinds drawn. They kept the house dark inside. When the media would knock, they'd open a crack and say no. They weren't talking to anybody.
Hi, I'm trying to find Josh Powell.
They were just their own little country.
Josh isolates himself from the world. He's not talking to police, he's not talking to media, he's certainly not searching for his missing wife.
I suddenly had this thought, I should try and get Josh to confess.
Even Josh's sister, Jennifer Graves, doesn't believe him. So she goes to police and she volunteers to wear a wire and go inside her dad's house.
They were just about to have dinner and we went in and the boys were so excited to see us.
My birthday! It is! It's your birthday, Charlie!
No. I didn't know exactly how to force this confrontation with Josh.
I've been hearing rumors that you'll probably be arrested soon.
Well, I don't know.
Suddenly, I just shoved Josh into the bathroom. And at that point, I was like, drop all pretense. Just tell me where her body is.
We tried to cover it up. Where is Susan?
Jennifer did a phenomenal job.
I just don't believe it anymore. I can see it in your eyes. There's something there.
You're wrong. Well, like I say,
I think you just need to confess now and get it over with.
don't be ridiculous. I know what I've done, and I haven't done anything.
You told me.
I've already told you every fact. I'm not going to violate my attorney's direction.
He still wouldn't budge. He still would not give me anything. I was so frustrated.
Eventually, Steve kicked Jennifer out of the residence, calling her derogatory names.
You are a bitch, is what you are. You talked about your brother and my son that way.
I regret not getting the confession, but I don't regret going.
This is Good Morning America.
And joining us now, Susan's mother and father, Judy.
Susan's parents, from the moment she was missing, they were very involved with the press.
Suspect your son-in-law.
Your grandchildren, what they saw.
But very quickly, the tone changed.
We made a conscious decision. The politeness wasn't working, so we basically called him out. Josh is a desperate person. He has no valid explanation for where he was.
Chuck Cox and the family, they're putting the purple ribbons, they've got the billboard outside the neighborhood.
All these things, I'm sure, are driving him crazy. But for 18 months, he sits in isolation and doesn't talk to anybody about it.
To try to get Josh to talk, we put together the honk and wave.
What in the world is a honk and wave?
Thank you!
And he said, you make these, you're gonna get these huge signs and you stand on the really busy corners and get people to honk and wave to show their support.
Thank you!
It can cause anxiety and disruption in your suspect's mind. People start to do things as the stress tends to build.
They picked a busy street near a store that they knew Steve and Josh shopped at, and Chuck and Judy and others were out there with signs and everything. And there were television cameras there.
We're not gonna stop looking for her no matter how long it takes.
They had these shirts with Susan's face. I think it said, "Have you seen me?" And they had some big posters, and they were waving and balloons and handing out flyers to cars as they went by.
Steve pulled by, and the next thing I know, he's stomping over towards me. You can't do this.
This is a store that I shop at. The only places where they've passed out flyers about Susan, the only place where they've put up billboards, the only place where they've duct taped flyers to light posts.
How is you coming here helping to find Susan?
It isn't helping to find Susan. How is your standing at our neighborhood market helping to find Susan, Chuck?
An extraordinary, personal, a very public confrontation that erupted in the middle of the search for Susan Powell. Several family members were clashing in front of the cameras.
Been all over the media. If somebody has seen her, then they can report to the police.
And you're only going to do this. Which other stores are you doing this at, Chuck?
It was ugly. It was weird. It was really contentious. I was waiting for the cops to come and haul one of them away.
Since you've come out against my family.
Then Josh showed up midway into this confrontation on the street corner, and he had the boys in the van with him.
Chuck Cox uses my sons as pawns in the media to drive whatever message he is trying to drive.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, that's all right.
I get a call from Josh. We were telling Josh, okay, are you going to do this interview or not? And he finally said yes.
You still love her?
Yeah.
He seemed very distant when I spoke to him. He had a hollow look and a stare that I wondered, is he trying to intimidate me?
Josh, did you kill your wife?
Then there was Steven wanting to be interviewed, and he ends up revealing the biggest bombshell.
There were just sexual things going on between us.
This is your daughter-in-law.
We were watching this on TV, and our jaws just dropped.
Did you see the birdie?
Where?
Don't crawl in the dirt, boys.
Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
When she went missing in 2009, it shocked everybody, especially since her story was so bizarre.
10 years on, we're still thinking about her, and we're still thinking about, we want closure on what happened to her.
Searching for the final resting place of Susan Cox Powell.
I believe that me and my team may have just found some of Susan Powell's remains. With every bucket load that we pulled out after that, we'd find a piece of vertebrae or a piece of rib.
Holy cow, this could have been where a body, ultimately was.
And I was like, well, where is she? And he was like, I don't know.
You have anything to say?
Josh, will you give us a comment
You're
today?
a person of interest, Josh.
We can't talk about Susan or camping. I always keep things as secret.
During that interview, it's very clear that Charlie has been coached.
He looked more and more like a psychopath. He was running out of places to hide.
Slams the door in her face and locks it.
This is a story you can't write in a Hollywood script. No one would have thought in a million years that's how the story would have ended.
Susan Powell was a young, beautiful mother of 2 adorable children. She just one night vanished.
Detectives have named Josh Powell a person of interest in the case.
He did some local news, some ambush-style interviews where they would ask him something on the fly. And
You were camping with the boys?
I have to go get my boys.
But he never really sat down and talked about what happened. And I'll never forget the first time that I met him. I shook his hand, and a chill just raced up through my spine. I just shook the hand of a killer.
Are we rolling? Why talk now?
Oh, man. I wanted to come out and say something. People who know me know that I'm a good dad. I was a good husband. I provided for them. Susan also contributed.
Nothing he told me during that interview convinced me that he was not part of what happened to her and why she disappeared.
I know that you've told police that you were camping. You brought your 2-year-old and your 4-year-old camping. Is that where you were?
I'm not going to talk about anything that my attorney has specifically told me not to.
Okay. Why not just answer where you were when she disappeared?
Josh, can I suggest something?
His father was there, and his father really wanted to be interviewed, which was odd. And I had really no desire to interview Stephen Powell at that time, zero. And I just thought, this is such a waste of time. This is pointless.
You think she ran away with another man?
It was another man.
I don't think Josh was in the room for that part of the interview. And before you know it, he ends up revealing the biggest bombshell out of all of the interviews that I had done out of the whole case.
What makes you think that she would leave her kids, her 2 young sons, and run away with another man?
With another man. Susan was very, very sexual with me. She was very flirtatious. I mean, she did it. I did. I mean, we interacted in a lot of sexual ways because Susan enjoys doing that.
But this is...
I enjoy doing that.
Why are you telling everyone that? That's not to your benefit, but somehow in my dad's own twisted mind, he thought that that was the greatest strategy to keep the dogs off Josh or something. I don't know.
One day we were at an animal park. I was holding Braden in my arms, and I had my hands like this. The part I remember is that Susan came over to take him from me, and instead of just reaching out and grabbing him, she pressed her breasts against my hands, tightly. And she wouldn't let my hands out. And that's nice. It was a cold day, so it was a nice, warm feeling.
Give me a break. But he loved to talk about it.
Josh and Susan, early in their marriage, move in to Steve Powell's home.
Susan had often referred to her father-in-law as creepy, but she, I don't think, had any idea how creepy the man truly was.
No, I'll do this.
And during this period of time, Steve Powell is constantly filming Susan. This is a man who is collecting video for his own perverse gratification. Because Steve Powell is a voyeur.
He wrote a number of songs about Susan.
Stephen Powell even recorded them and posted them on his website.
I can love you in a secret way. I can love you each and every day.
He had a pseudonym he used, Steve Chantre.
While Josh and Susan were living with my dad, there was a point where she was alone in the car with my dad for a short time while Josh was in the house, and my dad actually hit on her.
He has put his camera in the bag on the center console and left it recording. And so the audio of this conversation is captured.
I've really fallen in love with you. You know, for the last year and a half, you're about the only thing I can think about. And it just, for example, when we were sitting on the couch, it just felt like you were very, you know, I mean, I was extremely aroused, and I think you were somewhat aroused, at least I thought.
I don't know where you're going with this.
That audio was an opportunity to hear Susan in her own voice, telling Steve, in no uncertain terms, she was not interested.
I'm kind of meaning to talk to you about this, because I realized the last time I came over and that my own father doesn't kiss me and you kiss me, and I didn't like that.
She was extremely upset about that and disturbed, but even more disturbed when Josh just said that that's his dad.
I mean, he was obsessed with Susan. He was absolutely obsessed, and he wanted to talk about it. To me, this was the headline. And it also put a target on Stephen's back. And maybe he had something to do with this. The focus was less on Josh, and it shifted straight to Josh's father because it was so creepy. That was my big takeaway.
Police raided the home of her husband and father-in-law, seizing several computers and sealed boxes after those disturbing allegations made by both of them right here on GMA yesterday.
Susan Powell disappeared from her home near Salt Lake City on December 6, 2009. Since then, no word, nothing.
The Powells, they had this entire campaign of their own, and it was to make Susan look bad. It was to make her look like she was promiscuous, like she was looking to leave the marriage and abandon her children.
Susan Cox kept a diary, a secret diary.
Let's stay focused on the journals, okay? Because I think that's very interesting.
I believe that Susan had a liaison with somebody who disappeared the same week she did. She was very open sexually, and when I read her journals, it's clear that most of the relationships she got into with males were ones that she initiated.
Basically, Josh and Stephen, on their own stupidity, were telling, hey, this is, you know, the Holy Grail. This is telling us where Susan is. This is telling us how Susan acted. So that gave us the nexus through the judicial system to get into the house.
When Josh moved in with his father shortly after his wife's disappearance, he took some things from his Utah home, including Susan's journals.
Susan Powell's diaries have taken center stage. According to the search warrant left at the Powell's home, police came looking for 7 very specific diaries, all written by Susan. Diaries that her husband insists will help explain her disappearance.
They went through everything in the house, including all of Steve's, files, journals, computers.
They also find Steve Powell's collection of voyeur videos. Steve Powell is doing things like sliding mirrors under the bathroom door, attempting to get images of Susan while she's undressed.
I loved putting her underwear against my face, just smelling her scent.
Steve would narrate his videos to himself as he's shooting video of her dirty underwear.
Stephen Powell would save things of Susan that she'd throw away in a bathroom garbage. Things like cotton swabs, wax strips, tampons. He would mark each one of them, like for specific storage.
In his walk-in closet, there was a filing cabinet that was locked. And once we got into that, that was kind of like the unwanted treasure that we found.
Police say inside Powell's bedroom, they found thousands of images of mostly young girls, many naked, being videotaped without their knowledge. Prosecutors say 2 former neighbors, sisters just 7 and 12, were repeatedly videotaped while bathing. Police said Powell shot from his bedroom window into the neighbor's bathroom window using a telephoto lens.
They've looked at Steve Powell, the suspect in Susan's disappearance, and ruled him out, but it's obviously of great concern to detectives as they're scouring through all the material they take out of Steve Powell's home when they see underage neighbor girls undressed on Steve Powell's tapes.
Powell entered a plea of not guilty to 14 counts of voyeurism and 1 count of child pornography.
Stephen Powell was eventually convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison for possession of child pornography.
Because of all the things that the police encountered in the search of the Stephen Powell home, it became apparent eventually these boys were at imminent risk of harm.
The best part that came out of the search warrant with Steve's house was Child Family Services of Washington stepped in and shared with us that they would take custody of the children.
The boys, ages 4 and 6, were taken last night by the state, and now Susan's father is fighting to keep them with him.
They were going to be placed, relative placement with us, so we were essentially foster parents. Josh didn't want them with us.
My sons are safe with me. They're safe in my home. They're safe with my family.
I think Josh's main fear probably was that once Charlie started talking to their grandparents, the story would get out.
They were saying things like, our mommy went with us on the trip but didn't come back. We can only see our mom again if we go camping again.
Braden drew the picture of a minivan with stick people inside, and who's this? Oh, that's me. Who's that? That's Charlie. Who's that? That's Daddy. And he said, and he volunteered, Mommy's in the trunk.
We wanted to interview them.
Will you sit right there?
So I wrote the search warrant for that.
Charlie, has anybody talked to you about your mom? No?
I not know where she is. She got lost somewhere.
During that interview, it's very clear that Charlie has been coached. His answers are extremely evasive.
We can't talk about Susan or camping. I always keep things as secret.
The only thing we got out of that time was that at one point he said that she went camping, but she didn't come home with them. And then he kind of clammed up after that.
I didn't want to talk to you on this long. I mean it on this many minutes. Now I'm done.
While the Coxes were fighting for custody of the kids and had temporary custody of the boys, they were still essentially wards of the state. Washington State had control over these children, and the Coxes were glorified foster care. So the boys are living with Grandma and Grandpa, and Josh is getting supervised visitation with the boys.
The visitation is at first understood to be taking place at a secure third-party facility, but in short order, Josh takes steps to rent his own house, and he begins pushing the social workers, asking them if they can move visitation to this new house that he's rented, because it's not Steve Powell's house. It shouldn't have the same concerns.
I think the boys were ones that originally told me, hey, we got to go to Daddy's house or something, and I went, oh, really? I was concerned about that.
They were very excited. They were thrilled about the new house, and they were thrilled about the yard at the new house.
I am in their best interest as their father, that I should be raising them.
Through December into early January, he was confident that his reunification motion was going to be granted.
Who has custody of your kids?
Well, that was doomsday for Josh Powell.
This is a story you can't write in a Hollywood script. No one would have thought in a million years that's how this story would have ended.
Thinking he was going to get his kids back.
I was pretty positive that Josh was the one that killed Susan. I wanted to keep those boys out of that home as long as possible. I was going to West Valley going, hey, guys, we need something.
Pierce County authorities and investigators in Utah shared the common goal of protecting the boys. So the West Valley police in Utah passed along previously unreleased evidence recovered from the Powell's home.
When I pushed West Valley and they sent us the disc with the cartoon incestuous images.
The West Valley City Police Department in Utah had found images on a computer taken out of the house in Sarah Circle way back in December of 2009 that were of great concern. They were characters from popular Nickelodeon shows engaged in sexual acts of incest.
The evidence was allegedly taken from Josh Powell's Utah home by investigators.
They raised very serious questions about Josh's ability to be a safe parent for the boys.
He denies ever looking at any kiddie porn. He denies any knowledge about any of these images that had purportedly been taken off of his computers. Illegal images? No. I asked Mr. Long, he saw nothing on there that he believed would be in violation of the law. Bad taste? I'll give you that from what he was describing to me.
And that's when the judge ruled that the boys would stay with the Coxes longer.
The images are enough that Judge Catherine Nelson is ordering Josh Powell to now undergo a psychosexual evaluation.
This is an exam where they measure aberrant arousal, so you can't lie. Because physically the arousal will show if you're into things that might be illegal.
He had to take psychosexual evaluation, which is one thing that I know he wouldn't pass, but it included a polygraph.
And that means that Josh is going to have to do what he's avoided doing from the very first days after Susan disappeared, which is take a lie detector test.
He'd been able to get away with murder, so to speak, for a long time. But a polygraph, I think he was really afraid of. He didn't want to answer all these questions about Susan and how she went missing.
He truly had gone down in flames from being pretty sure that he was going to get his kids back.
Are you disappointed the kids are going to be coming home with you?
I think the arrow was taken out of him. He looked bad. You just saw his welfare diminish.
He looked more and more like a psychopath. He was running out of places to hide, and he was running out of options, and it was tearing him down as a person.
The custody hearing between Chuck and Josh essentially was put on pause. That was on February 1st. We know then that Josh spent the next 4 days preparing.
We know that he transferred some of his finances.
He gathered up some of the boys' things and toys, took them to Salvation Army and Goodwill. He bought 5-gallon gas cans and went and filled them with gas.
I said, look, I am afraid Josh is backed into a corner with the psychosexual and the polygraph. He knows there's no way he's going to beat those.
So the morning of Sunday, February 5th, Chuck had gone to church early.
I knew they were going for their visit, and they were making it clear to my wife and myself, we don't want to see him today. No, we don't want to go.
I picked up the boys. They were waiting with their grandmother, and I expected to return the boys in about 4.5 hours.
And things just go very wrong.
The Pierce County Sheriff believes what has happened is nothing short of pure evil.
This is a story you can't write in a Hollywood script. No one would have thought in a million years that's how this story would have ended. When you talk about a tragedy, this is it.
For the morning of Sunday, February 5th, Elizabeth Griffin Hall arrived at the rental house, parked out front, and as children do, Charlie and Braden got out of their car seats.
They rushed to the front door, which is what they always did. I was 1 or 2 steps in back of them. The kids just rushed in. I saw Josh for just 1 second. His eyes caught mine, and he had a look in his eyes.
She looks him straight in the face. He slams the door in her face and locks it.
I knocked and I knocked and I rang the doorbell and I started yelling at Josh, let me in. And I heard him say, Charlie, I've got a big surprise for you.
And immediately she smelled gasoline and she knew it was an emergency situation.
I'm on a supervised visitation for a court-ordered visit, and something really weird has happened. I think I need help right away. He looked right at me and closed the door.
All right, we'll have somebody look for you there.
Okay, how long will it be?
I don't know, ma'am. They have to respond to emergency, life-threatening situations first. The first available deputy.
Well, this could be life-threatening. He went to court on Wednesday, and he didn't get his kids back. And this is really, I'm afraid for their lives.
Okay, has he threatened the lives of the children previously?
I have no idea.
All right, we'll have the first available deputy contact you.
February 5th, 2012, Super Bowl Sunday.
I went to church. I came home, Super Bowl Sunday.
I remember watching the Super Bowl that day and seeing the reports come in.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John DeCepolo. We are interrupting your programming for some breaking news.
And I got a call from my neighbor, and he said, change the channel.
I was actually in Indianapolis. The Patriots were playing the Giants at the Super Bowl.
Patriots lead the Giants 10-9 at halftime.
And I was there with my family. And it was halftime, and Madonna was about to take center stage.
As Madonna takes the stage to perform Vogue, Abby's in the stadium concourse trying to absorb the text she just received.
I get a text, pops up on my phone.
There has been a fatal explosion at the home of Josh Powell.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I'm going to get help from the neighbors. They'll be able to help me get the boys out. So I went screaming to the neighbors and said, there's 2 children in there. There's 2 children in there.
I said, oh my God. And I thought like natural gas or something. And they said they found 3 bodies.
There's a fire, the house exploded, and we're hearing that Josh and Charlie and Braden were inside.
This can't be, this can't be.
And I thought, no, that can't be real. I would have heard something.
And I called Susan's father. I said, Chuck, is it true?
Chuck, is it true? Is it true? He said, yes. And I didn't even say goodbye. I just hung up the phone and started crying.
And I was looking at a house with steam still coming out of it and fires, and he went and talked to his sergeant or whatever. He said, yeah, they're there, and they're dead.
Honestly, I wasn't surprised. And the actions that he made after she went missing, I never underestimated him.
And then to find out the details, it just breaks your heart.
The Pierce County medical examiner says both boys had chopping wounds on their heads and necks, but that's not what killed them. The cause of death for all three was carbon monoxide poisoning.
We believe he bought 2 5-gallons worth of gas, and one was used in the room where the boys were killed, where we found the hatchet, the boys, and one of the gas cans.
And then after he had incapacitated them, he arranged them on the floor next to each other and poured gasoline on and around them and around the house. And then he sat on a gas can and lit a match. And they were still alive when the fire started, and they died of smoke inhalation. And there was also gasoline in their lungs.
Police say there's clear evidence Josh planned out this house explosion and meant to kill himself and his children.
The morning of the 5th, he sent a couple of text messages and voicemails to people, essentially saying goodbye. His sister Alina found one when it was too late to intervene after the explosion.
What did he say? I think he said, "Hello, this is Josh."
I am not able to live without my son, and I'm not able to go on anymore. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt. Goodbye.
When you heard the audio recording, what did you think? What did you make of that?
I thought he had lost all hope.
To find out that, you know, he used the axe first, and to find out that he said to them, you know, I have a surprise for you. Any little bit of doubt that anyone could have possibly had that Josh killed Susan had to have gone out the window. The fact that he could have done that to his kids.
This wasn't tragic. This was deeply wrong. This was evil. You do not kill little kids.
Police are convinced the explosion and fire that destroyed Josh Powell's home is a murder-suicide.
I don't know anything else I could have done. And they're still dead. My daughter's still missing, and now the children are dead. I had them safe. They were in my care. They were gone.
I was frustrated with the Child Protective Service Agency. Why would they put this single woman in charge of these boys and send her into the lion's den?
They had the right to grow up.
The Cox family is determined to hold the state accountable and make them pay for the deaths of their grandchildren.
You'll cut that out of the tape, right?
Hey, Braden. Hold still. That's the saddest part, is you look at photos of Josh and Susan, Charlie and Braden, and you think about what could have been. Those boys deserve to grow up, and they never got the chance.
We've been robbed of 3 precious lives, and it's just unthinkable that the same person did it.
Why take the kids? Why? It makes absolutely no sense.
My worst nightmare had just happened. But I went from praying that somehow Susan was alive to praying now that she was dead so that she could greet her boys in heaven.
Outside the fenced-off crime scene, strangers visit the memorial that has risen. Flowers, balloons, and stuffed animals offered in memory of Charlie and Braden Powell.
Why would he go through so much to get custody of the boys, only to murder them?
Come here, Charlie.
Here we go, Charlie. Hey, buddy.
Well, one of the possibilities is he destroyed the evidence. Those boys were starting to talk. And by destroying the evidence, basically, he committed murder on his 2 boys.
It shows how much of a monster he really was. And it shows how many people dropped the ball in this case.
I was frustrated
with the Child Protective Service Agency. Why would they put this single woman in charge of these boys and send her into the lion's den? It made no sense to me.
I wanted to get the kids no matter what. I wanted to get the kids. If I could have gotten through the door, I would have.
She did what she could. She did everything right. There's no blame on her at all. Anybody puts any blame on her, it's misdirected.
The Coxes have filed a lawsuit against the state of Washington on behalf of Braden and Charlie. It's a wrongful death lawsuit, and their position is that the state of Washington put Josh's parental rights before the welfare of these boys.
The Cox family lawsuit didn't include Elizabeth Griffin Hall or any other individuals as defendants.
The fact is she was not the one that made the decision for this to be in the home. So to a certain extent, she's lucky she's alive. And she's, I think, a victim in a lot of ways, too.
They filed this lawsuit, $35 million for Braden, $50 million for Charlie. $5 million for each minute that these boys suffered at the hands of their father before they were ultimately blown up in Josh's rental house.
Please be seated. Good morning, everybody.
You have a civil case against the state that started in February, was disrupted because of COVID-19.
Please now give your attention to Mr. Buck as he presents the plaintiff's final argument.
It is out of the state's failure to live up to their own primary directive of assuring the safety of the children that this tragedy was born. What was the place that had the least protection? Josh Powell's home. But what about the level of risk? Then the state learned of the boy's statements. It learned of this incest images. It learned that he was going to have to undergo a psychosexual evaluation and polygraph. If the state had followed its policies, its guidelines, common sense, investigated, had visitations where it was supposed to have them, none of this would have happened. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this will be the only and final time that you hear from the state in this matter. The state took this very serious. They did their job, they followed their policies. Yes, the fact that Susan Powell was missing was known, but after more than 2 years after her disappearance, still no arrest, no charges against Josh Powell. It actually takes facts and proof to remove a child from their parent, to keep them out of the home. The guides on visitation shows the #1 preferred location is at a parent's home. That's why transition to a home occurs. The goal in these type of cases is always family reunification. I'm going to submit to you that Mr. Powell is the sole cause of the murder of his sons. It was not due to any negligence by the state of Washington. It was Mr. Powell who did this.
The truth of the fact of the matter is, they're the only ones who could have protected the children at that point. They're the ones with responsibility.
Has the jury reached a verdict, ma'am?
All please rise.
Please be seated.
Court is reconvened.
Has the jury reached a verdict, ma'am?
If it pleases the court, we have.
Was the state of Washington negligent? Answer, yes. What do you find plaintiff Charles Powell's total amount of damages? $57,500,000. Braden Powell's total amount of damages, $57,500,000.
For 8 years, the Cox family has been trying to find justice. And it took us a long time. And we took a long hiatus with the pandemic. Today, justice has been meted out.
What I intend to do is use the award to try and help other people in that so that we can save more children.
Jury members told ABC News they didn't believe any one individual at Child Protective Services was responsible for what happened. They blame a systematic failure for the tragedy.
It just came down to this. You cannot have reunification, as your goal at the expense of child safety. And, lawsuits change things. Brown versus Board of Education, Roe v. Wade. I mean, that's how things change.
So 2020 reached out to several agencies in both states, and they declined to comment or refer us to other departments. In the end, we were unable to get an answer to our questions. Could the actions of these agencies, or their inactions, have contributed to the murders of Braden and Charlie Powell?
My heart absolutely breaks for Chuck and Judy Cox. Think about what this couple has gone through. They lost their daughter. Both of their grandbabies were horrifically butchered. And the only 3 people that could shed any light on this are dead.
It should have never have got to the point where you had Josh getting his kids into that house and blowing it up.
Josh's actions are definitely an admission of guilt. She's gonna divorce him. If he can't have her, nobody will. So he kidnaps Susan and most likely murders her and disposes of her body. Where? Nobody knows.
I know there are 10,000 abandoned mines in Utah. That's a lot of places where you can dump a body.
We do begin tonight with the search happening hundreds of feet down, deep inside of a mine in Utah's West Desert. The search for Susan Powell's body continues.
Emily, what happened to Susan Powell is still unknown, and her family never got closure. But now a crew is searching a mine shaft in the West Desert.
Dave and I, since we were kids, we've been out exploring this sort of stuff since a long time ago. Our dad was one of these desert rats that just fell in love with the wide open spaces, the ghost towns. It's not surprising that we end up 30, plus years later out there doing it all over again.
Our business specializes in doing things that other people can't or won't do. But every once in a while we get a really cool opportunity to, get involved in a missing person case, like this one with Susan Powell. I was very fascinated with the idea of maybe helping find Susan. I've kind of just been following along ever since, and then we got a tip that there's a chance she's out here. The majority of our search, rescue, and recovery operations are all pro bono. We are not part of law enforcement. As a private entity and a volunteer search group, we can kind of just move faster. Early on in the excavation, roughly at about the 75-foot level, did just find a bone, looks like a rib. We were more motivated to keep getting down in there and removing more and more material. Every bucket load that we pulled out after that, we'd find a piece of vertebrae or a piece of rib. And that's when we started to get to some really exciting stuff, which was where we found, a pair of pants. First phone call with Susan's dad was like, okay, this is my guy. He drove through the night all the way down from Washington to be on site with us.
The likelihood is pretty low that we're going to find something. But on the other hand, she's still out there somewhere.
And Chuck kind of came over to me quietly and he's like, hey, I know how to operate a radio. Do you need help down there? And I said, Chuck, do you really want to go down in this hole? And he said, absolutely. He went from a father who was looking for the body of his daughter to part of the search team. We're still at the point where it's like, are the bones animal or they're human? And so we're excited to get the DNA tests back.
It's a blessing, and I'm just so thankful that they're doing it, and I'm just grateful that people are still looking for Susan.
And we should point out tonight that the judge presiding over the Cox civil case has now cut their original award from $98 million to approximately $32 million, $16 million for each of the deceased boys.
And the Cox family has appealed the court's decision, as well as the fact that Washington State has been granted a new trial. That's our program for tonight. I'm Amy Robach.
And I'm David Muir. From all of us here at ABC News in 2020, good night.